is going on? It's Obadiah. Today we are back with another episode of Musical Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, entertainers, and musician in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio, maybe, thing. And we talk about what's going on and have a drink. As always, I am here with co-host Ryan Poole, who I will pass it to introduce the guest.
Well, tonight on the show, we have a very special guest. Unlike recently, when we've had not so special guests.
Worst, no kidding. Our guests have all been awesome.
I can retain my status.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Which is awesome because if you were a previous guest, you're like, was I the not special one? Like, I wasn't clear. But to my double left, we have Aaron Smith. Aaron is a pianist. Catch all the syllables there.
You did great. Good job.
Which actually reminds me, I need to change the title because I left it as Musical Hideout with musician. I did not yet input the name.
Thanks. I'm
Aaron,
so glad I could be your generic musician.
Aaron is a pianist, and he is also a producer, a multi-instrumentalist. He's also a drummer. I saw him play guitar recently, which sort of really surprised me. And Aaron is from the PNU, Pacific Northwest, for the uninclined and uninitiated, I should say.
No one calls it the PNU. You just you San Diego.
Da PNU. And I've actually known Aaron for years. He's my go-to guy when I need some piano or synth on any kind of musical project I might be working on.
You hear that, Nathan?
It's actually, I don't think he listens. To be honest, every time I've been like,
feelings.
Nathan, have you listened to an episode? He's like, no.
Did you even listen to his episode?
No. So, but no, I mean, I'm literally doing a track with Nathan right now. Nathan's my go-to string composer. So,
okay.
Anyway.
Ryan's an equal opportunity composer, producer.
It's true. I've got my people for my things. But anyway, Aaron, we'll get into all that later. But for now, what are we drinking tonight?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. Huge honor. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
We are drinking one of my favorite things to consume that is of an alcoholic nature. The Old Fashioned, one of my favorite whiskey cocktails. When we were drinking Henry McKenna bourbon with some good old Angostura bitters and some good old sugar water.
Now, for the folks at home and maybe me right now, could you lead us through how to make an Old Fashioned?
I would be more than happy to. So you're first of all, other bitters. There you
Normal
go.
bitters.
Yeah.
Those are traditional. I use the orange because I've never used them before.
We'll experiment next round.
Okay.
So 2 dashes of Angostura
Like a
bitters.
Okay.
Like a dash, like aggressive dash.
Dash.
There you go.
Got it.
And then just enough simple syrup just to cover the bottom of the cup.
How deep? I mean, I could fill it, and we could call that covering.
Brian, when I tell you to fill the bottom of the cup, don't ever ask how deep. Just fill it.
Just to cover it, like what I just did. Is that covering?
I can't.
Would you
see.
say?
Sure. I mean, if it was me, I'd double up these things to make a double. Since these are large cups. Do whatever you want.
I see.
I'm
gonna keep
apparently we have to make it through the bottle, so
this is true.
we're just prolonging this.
Okay, and now.
And then roughly 2 ounces, so that's just going to be your call.
Yeah, I'm an American. I don't even know what an ounce is.
That's imperial system. That's us. We are the ounces people.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Could you tell me in millimeters then? Something like that. Does that look about right?
Yeah.
No, there's really. I poured longer.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
I
it
really
actually
didn't
looks
pour it out
better.
my chin. I just kind of drew it out for dramatic effect. This
Very
is
nice.
the Alcohol Drama Podcast.
Ice.
And ice.
Ice.
Which, I'm jumping the gun.
Which,
on your recipe.
with your hands that I hope you washed, followed correct hygienic procedures.
Actually,
We don't want to lose that A rating.
Yeah.
our podcast was just rated A by FDA.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one listens.
Health inspectors
But
watching.
we recently got an A rating on our health inspection test.
Yep, little stirry stir, and you have yourself an old fashioned.
All right.
Simple and basic. And I'll throw
Very
all the stuff
good.
over here for you because I think your cup is empty.
So now that we've tested your drinking
yes.
knowledge,
This is a problem.
but maybe
Whatever you want.
I think we're gonna dive in and have you play a
are you
song.
Are you gonna make your own, or should I?
I already did.
I see. We're having a
I
sub.
made it before we started.
We're having a
Pre-gaming.
whole sub conversation right now. Not even listening.
No.
We're actually live on the internet, you guys.
Oh man.
So
Hi.
So we're gonna probably have you jump into a song here in just a few minutes, so you can show people at home some of your skills.
Yeah.
But
I got mad skills.
in the
Hello,
in the
Patchy.
meantime, how'd you get started in music?
How did I get started in music? Man, well, first of all, I was born at a very young age.
Wow.
God, we don't have any sound effects, but if we did, yeah.
Or a wah, wah.
Yeah.
Jared, throw me a.
There's going to be a lot of wah-wah moments. I'm just telling you right now. So I was trying to think. I mean, I was around music my whole life. My dad was a worship leader for our church growing up, and my first piano lessons when I was 5 were from my dad, and then my mom, and then I got a actual like professional. Not discrediting my parents in any way, because they're amazing and honestly a huge part of why I'm here in Nashville today. But did piano lessons, took drum lessons, did that whole bit, did jazz band in high school, all those fun experiences. I kind of got the studio fever when I was around 12.
It's real early.
Yeah. So our church that I grew up in had a recording studio adjoined to it that was kind of operated independently by a producer who I sort of idolized and I really respect. He's named Caleb Couch. And I one day just decided, like, I want to get in there. So my dad suggested, well, why don't you just, like, record some songs and just, like, we'll just throw a CD his way. So, because CDs are what we used back in 2001, I think, maybe around when that was.
Oh, wow. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think it's like early CD days. I feel like I got my first like MP3 CD thing.
Yeah, well, that's about the time
maybe.
the MP3s were breaking.
Oh, that was like the beginning.
Remember all those
CDs
crappy
came out in 85.
MP3 players before
Oh
my
iPod
gosh.
came out?
The little trash ones are like cheap plastic.
Oh, yeah, and they like die and they're like impossible to use.
Oh,
And then came along the Zune and we were all saved.
Hey, ice me if you would.
I bought one.
There you
Oh,
The ice is
Thanks.
infinitely closer to you than me.
I figure you don't want my hand all up on your ice.
I had an MP3 player,
that.
and I'm pretty sure it was like 30 songs or less.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what is even the point? You get through
Right.
your 30 songs and you're like,
Well, the point
now I have to
was
sync it to my computer again.
you didn't have to carry around 3 CDs.
Yeah. Kids these days don't even know what the privileges that they get to experience.
I remember
Or
they
the
used to
horrors.
judge when you go to like an iPod when that came out by how many songs it would hold. It used to be like in the ads, it was like this one holds 1,000 songs.
Oh, yeah.
and this holds. Then it was like,
Right.
but the new one holds 30,000 songs. Everyone's like I would never need that much space. And now
Yeah.
your stuff holds 0 songs on Spotify.
Right. Now everything's in the cloud and, we're all in the matrix.
And this is right. It's pretty accurate, I would say.
I'm sort of a technophobe. That's, that's okay. But at the same time, I am teaching myself how to code and do web development. So,
I literally just started doing that.
oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
like 1 day ago.
Hey,
How'd that go, by
you're
the
one
way?
day further. You're one day further down the road than.
But I've also,
most other
I also
people.
started college as a computer science engineering major, so I have a tiny background,
Yeah, that would help.
just for a couple semesters.
So sorry, that was getting back to the question you asked me.
Yeah, how'd you start music? Studio.
So I got the
This is
studio,
what we're best
studio
at.
fever. I got to record one of my songs with this producer who ran this studio, and that was kind of like kind of an aha moment. Like, I want to do this. This is what I want to spend like my adult life doing. So got into high school, started looking at colleges, found Belmont, which is what brought me to Nashville. Applied, got in, did the whole Belmont thing, and
How was that?
Oh, it was fantastic.
You don't have to say that.
No, I learned a lot.
I've shit on
it
Belmont a number of
was
times on this episode.
Fantastic.
I learned a lot. I met a lot of great people, a lot of which who have turned out to be friends and, to this day, valuable people to know in the music industry. So I would say, like, to anyone considering Belmont or music school in general for, like, commercial music, not classical music, it's all about the networking. And so to some extent, I feel like going to Belmont was just a very, very expensive, ongoing networking event.
Yes, $48,000 here is the current
Oh, okay.
Networking
that has
entrance fee.
significant hike
with
from when I
housing.
went.
With housing,
So I started in 2007. So that dates me. I'm an old man now.
I think that still
I-
makes you younger though.
I think it was 30,000 a year.
Okay.
So you're talking
That's a
about
lot. It's a huge jump.
50% increase. Man.
Yeah, real rude.
Yeah, gosh.
It's crazy.
I kind of feel like I got it easy. So at Belmont, I was a music major. One of the things that happened was I had some extra credits. I had some credits transfer in from high school or whatever. So I was like, what am I going to do with this extra time? So I ended up taking some audio engineering classes. Just they weren't even an elective. Like they counted 0 towards my degree. It was just literally just because I had room. It like didn't cost me any more tuition to take these hours. And like, I'm sure this is going to apply. So I did. And honestly, that was one of the best decisions I think I ever made in terms of my education, was like getting those hands-on skills, like learning how to calibrate 2-inch tape, not that I will ever do that, but
you never
it helped
know.
me get the understanding of like what goes under the hood, the history of it all. So
Sure, which is overall makes you better at doing music things.
Yeah.
Just the knowledge of how things work.
yeah, absolutely. So, and it's something that I think a lot of people don't get. Like I started recording in Cakewalk Sonar. I don't know, Ryan, if you've ever messed around in Sonar, but that's just what I had because I was a PC guy growing up. And just had no idea of like why things were the way they were, and then took audio engineering classes and like, get it. This is where this all came from and kind of evolved from. So definitely helps to study that stuff for sure.
Yes. Hello, Cat Dad.
Father of cats.
Father is the father of cats. Of all of them. It's weird.
Mother of dragons, father of cats.
That's a big title.
It is a big title. Yeah, he's pretty impressive. I actually was going to ask a question that totally threw me off. I was like, not just saying hi, but that's cool. Since I don't remember, should we just jump right into a song? So because the people here might have never heard you before. So what are you gonna?
My friends haven't heard me before.
So what are you gonna play to start? Oh, and also they probably can't hear you until Ryan unmutes the thing. 'Cause I don't know how you said that.
Unmute me, Ryan. Hello? Can you hear me? Ooh, I'm gonna have to tighten this down.
We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. Awesome. I'm gonna start off with a little cover song. This is one of my favorite songs that I came across in the last couple years from a band that I really love and respect called Bach The Balloon. It's their song One Foot, and it's just a fun song. There's I didn't talk to you guys about this in advance, but are we up for a little audience participation / host participation?
Yeah.
So there's some haze and there's some ooze. And I can't do both of them. It's like
us participating.
Yeah,
I thought you
yeah.
meant the people at home. Well, the people at home can
Well, you
participate
can do that.
too.
Yeah.
We won't hear them. In fact, if you guys could type haze and O's, would be great.
We would like to blow up the chat feed with hey. So every time I sing the woo-hoo, there's a hey right after. Okay.
Okay.
So
what's the timing of that?
So
I think you will
2,
have heard
3,
this song.
4. Woo, hey. It's on 4 for those of
Okay.
you who are music theory inclined.
All right.
Yeah, that's all. I just think that'll sound beautiful.
Okay. So we're gonna say hey after you say who.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
So
if you want to
I won't
throw
mute
like
us
a
then.
hand motion into like, hey,
Okay.
whatever, just however the spirit moves you. Hey, yeah, there we go. Hey, not a soul up ahead and nothing behind. There's a desert in my blood and a storm in your eyes. Am I the king of nothing at all? Then you're the queen of nothing at all. Well, I remember the fight and I forget the pain. I got my hand in your pocket and my key in your chain. Am I the king of nothing at all? Then you're the queen of nothing at all. Oh, through the wilderness, you and I were walking through the emptiness. Oh, my heart is a mess. Is it the only defense against the wilderness? Cross my heart, hope to die, taking this one step at a time. I got your back if you got mine. Oh, oh, 1 foot in front of the other. Ooh, hey, love it. Ooh, hey, 1 foot in front of the other. 1 foot in front of the other. one foot in front of the other. Not a soul on the road, not a star in the sky. It's a desert in my heart and I know where to hide. I'm your king of nothing at all, and you're my queen of nothing at all. Well, out here in the dust, if you don't have trust, this is the exodus, this is the exodus. They're just testing us, they can't mess with us, they can't mess with us, they can't mess with us. Oh, through the wilderness, how come even together there can be loneliness? Oh, my heart's a mess, but it's my only defense to brave the wilderness. Cross my heart, hope to die, taking this one step at a time. I got your back and you got mine. Oh, one foot in front of the other. Ooh, hey! One foot in front of the other. Ooh, hey! One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. Well, out here in the dust, oh, through the wilderness, how come even together there can be loneliness? Oh, my heart's a mess, but it's my only defense to brave the wilderness. Cross my heart, hope to die, taking this one step at a time. I got your back and you got mine. Whoa, one foot in front of the other. Ooh, hey! One foot in front of the other. Ooh, hey! One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. Hey! Thanks for that last hey, Ryan.
You're welcome.
We had a lot of fun with the haze, I'll tell you.
Yeah, Taji even said that hey though.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Right. Come back to the world of make-believe, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Gotta
Oh, did you already mute him again? Nice. Look at you. You're all on top of it like you know what you're doing.
Is the mute the verbs though?
No, I'm just
well,
curious.
they're not. Maybe you don't have to because they're not being fed by our mics. Let me just check. Let me just
How do
make
you
sure.
engineer stuff. Did
We're
you
good.
Did you
We're
get any
good.
haze? Did you get any haze on the chat?
We got one guy that said that hey though. Ryan was real into it.
No takers, huh?
Well, Jury he started switching to our camera every time we did the hey. So it got very participatory.
Excellent videography work.
Oh, somebody did give us a woo though.
A woo. Oh yeah.
Cat
I'll take
Dad
a woo.
TV did
Cat
give
Dad,
us a
thanks
woo.
for the woo. I don't know what that's what y'all doing, you lazy bastards. But
Nobody typed hey.
yeah,
You couldn't type
three
hey.
letters. What's all right? We'll let it slide for this time. I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know you have a question prepared.
Okay, cool. I'll let you do your thing. Sorry. So we're doing a technical thing. Yeah. So question. Where'd you learn to play piano so good though?
How about the piano skill though?
Yeah. How do you get good at the piano? You know.
I learned me real good.
Yeah. How do you learn that thing so good, man? What do you do about? Man, not just saying. Watch you.
Roger said hi though. He said his internet's crapping out though, so he probably can't stay. He's
Roger.
in Georgia. He's probably still
sick.
not here.
Cool
Roger, stay
excuse.
tuned. You might hear a song, you know. Just saying.
Yeah. So how'd you get good at that piano?
Oh gosh. Well, you know, I started taking piano lessons. Like I said, I honestly I studied for about like 6 years just at home. I think my dad taught me like 1 or 2 of those years, and then my mom kind of took over. It was like I was homeschooled, loud and proud.
Nice.
It was just kind of part of the day.
It
It
shows.
was just like
Okay, so I've got to ask.
yes.
Homeschooled.
He was literally at the beginning of his question. That was the backdrop. That was the context.
Well, here's the thing. I work with a lot of students.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a lot of homeschooled students who go to Belmont. Weird, which is I think is odd, but I guess maybe makes sense.
Okay.
And most of them seem to have trouble with the social aspects of life.
Sure.
Which my theory is because they weren't as social. Like a lot of parents don't do a good job socializing their kids because they're not around thousands of other children.
Right.
Some of them are just fine and they're great people. I have yet to decide which you are.
Okay,
but,
that's a little ominous, but all right.
But I don't know. I don't know how you interact with other homeschool kids. I assume you have like a thing you do. Like,
Yeah.
have you felt like that was the case or not the case?
So I'll answer that two ways. The first way is by saying there was definitely other outlets for me to socialize, other than being homeschooled. I did do a homeschool group for a while. It was like every Friday. It was like a co-op thing. A bunch of people, kids would meet up. But I was also like on swim team. I was in soccer.
So you were involved in all the things.
Yeah. And then I did actually go to public high school. That was just kind of because I sort of did feel like I was missing out at that point. I was like, I just feel like there's some opportunities, social and otherwise.
Is that where you learned how to make an old fashioned?
I have noticed that when I do work with kids who were homeschooled who are now at Belmont, weirdly enough, they always have straight A's.
Yeah.
Maybe because their parents grade them. I don't know. Probably has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's one of those like questionable like self-report things. Like, how much integrity does this data actually have?
Whenever they give me their transcripts, I'm like, you printed this out. Like, come on, this is a Word document.
Yeah. Like, I can see the file name, the file path at the bottom.
And all their homeschool names are like their last name. They're like, oh yeah, I graduated from the Smith Academy.
Yeah. Your last name is Smith. That's not questionable at all.
Anyways, not to completely derail you, but it is what I'm best at.
Yeah. So, but since you brought it up, I will say that to get a little personal for a second.
Oh yeah.
I have in the last
personal.
year sort of diagnosed myself with very low grade social anxiety, which I don't know. I don't know what to attribute that to because, I mean, obviously, you could look at being homeschooled and say, well, you weren't around other kids a whole lot. And that may have played a part in it. It also could be nurture. I've been doing a lot of, nature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotcha.
I've been doing a bit of reading about it. And honestly, I feel like giving it the label has sort of helped. Like,
really?
Go like,
That's
like understanding like I'm not the only person that feels this way. Actually, based on research, like
most people,
40, so 90%, and this is according to the research of Dr. Ellen Hendrickson, who's like an amazing author, writes a whole lot about this stuff, and go read her book. But 90% of people that she studies have identified with social anxiety symptoms at some point in their life.
And I feel like the other 10% are lying.
Right?
Like, are you kidding me?
They're just like, who are you kidding? Come on.
Come on, bro. It's like a bro, like a backwards cap. No, I'm fine, bro. I don't get nervous.
Ego, dude. Yeah, exactly. But like 40% of people call themselves shy, and then 13% have what she calls capital S social anxiety.
Okay.
So just, since you brought it up, it's like, it's definitely something that's a real thing, but it's definitely common and treatable.
Okay.
What's the treatable part?
Yeah, I was gonna say treatable like through like therapy or treatable through drugs.
Honestly, probably a little bit of both. I haven't gone the drugs route because I haven't needed to. I think that maybe for people who have more extreme cases, like maybe like some pharmaceutical interventions help to get yourself to a better baseline. But honestly, one of the best things that's helped me with that is being a bartender, which I also do, and being kind of thrown to the wolves, so to speak. Like I'm up there on top bar and there's, I'm basically just forced to talk to strangers.
Just the whole night.
The whole night long.
Yeah. And they're getting worse, right? As the night progresses.
Oh yeah. Or better, easier to talk to,
I guess that could be true. Yeah.
Depending on how you look at it. But I would say that's and they would call that exposure therapy.
Cat Dad says, I'm going to get my wife in here. She's a therapist.
Oh yeah.
This is going to turn into a whole different kind of episode.
Well, if I can say so, I think that you seem less socially anxious now in this moment on this day than X amount of years when I met you. 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I would say that I've come a long way.
And I affirm that.
Aw.
I sense that. Literally, like
Ryan, I have all the feels.
not even just like I actually have already thought that.
Oh.
Not in those terms. I never put the word socially anxious next to you, but just like you seem a lot more
It's
like.
actually your name in his phone.
You seem more
Aaron
open.
Smith dash social.
I would have definitely said Aaron is an introvert, and not that you aren't, but I mean,
Right.
because
so here's
I would say you feel much less like an uncomfortable introvert or like.
Which,
you know
for the
what I'm saying?
record, being an introvert is the better way, as we have all agreed.
So since you're bringing it up,
Yeah.
there's a very clear distinction between introversion and social anxiety. They can look very similar, but the difference is introversion is in and of itself completely just a healthy way of being. It's, introverts don't not like people. The introverts just like recharge by themselves. So like being around people for too long is like, oh, this is really draining. Or introverts might be totally fine, like skipping out on a party or a social event just because they would rather like read a book or something like that.
Now,
So-
this is a common thing. He's very extroverted. I'm
Extrovert,
definitely
introvert.
introverted.
now for
Okay.
the
and so he's
for
like,
the record,
hey, I know you like just were around people working with students all day, and we did a 3-hour podcast, and you've been out for 16 hours, but you want to go to a bar? And I'm like, nope. He's like, bro.
Yep.
no. I'll just throw out.
sometimes
there.
I do wanna go to a
one
bar, to
thing
be
that
I like to drink.
on the other end of the other end of the token side of the tool shed here, you guys. I tried to match.
I'm just saying,
as
I don't
many
think we've
phrases I
ever
could.
had
A
another
lot of
introvert
introverts
here with me.
according
and I'm
to
appreciating this.
every test I've ever taken, has shown me
got
to
you.
be a mid-trovert.
Mid-trovert.
Yeah.
TM. I'm directly in the middle. I'm halfway introverted, halfway extroverted. Introverts such as yourself often judge that as no, you're extroverted.
100%.
And I
accurate.
identify as non-binary. I'm directly in the middle of the spectrum of introversion, extroversion. But your kind don't acknowledge that my kind exists. And you just, you want to hang out and have fun and do life. You're an extrovert. I would rather sit home and play video games. Yeah, let's get real.
Hey, and that's fair. No, and I do think there's a spectrum. But I was going to say social anxiety has to do with
Different.
fear. And
Yeah.
so when you're an introvert and you want to spend time by yourself, that's not a fear thing. That's just this is my personal preference. But if you are like, so there's cases like if you are a socially anxious introvert, you might still need time to go like hang out with friends or invest in relationships, but you might not because you're afraid of what people might think of you, saying something stupid and embarrassing yourself. And so you stay home when actually what you really want to do is go out, and you're actually shorting yourself on life by doing that. That's the difference between introversion and social anxiety.
That's a really great explanation of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot.
I don't remember what the original music-based question was.
Oh, we were asking,
Yeah.
we were homeschooled.
I'm like, how did you get good at
we were
that
talking about
piano?
homeschool.
Oh, right.
Yes,
And
we were talking about piano.
And he's like, well, I was homeschooled.
I was like,
and
stop! That's what we're talking about now.
Yeah. But as far as piano goes, I took lessons all the way through high school. I had an amazing teacher in high school. Her name's Diane Morton. She actually just retired, and I got to go back to Seattle last year and play at her like final recital, which was a huge honor. But she invested a lot in me. Actually, she connected me with the person who told me about Belmont. So she's also part of the reason how I got here. But I don't just practice. Like dedication, practice. It got to a point where I entered a solo
Never
ensemble
giving up.
competition.
Yeah.
no days off.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
built in a day.
It took more than a day to
Everything
build
you took
Rome.
one.
What other cliches can throw out there? No, really though, and honestly, for me, like part of the motivation was performing. Like I know not everyone likes to perform, but like I was motivated by like there's this solo ensemble thing you do in high school. You go and perform. You can, and I wanted to do that as a solo, pianist. Now I'm gonna feel awkward every time.
We can
I
always
say
say
that. Thanks,
piano
Ryan.
player.
A solo penis.
Just one, and that's plenty.
One one is enough for me. Yeah. So, but doing that made me practice more because I was like, I want this kind of like an.
Can we say cock on
person.
Twitch?
Yeah.
Is that a
You
solo
did.
cock? Is that easier to say? You can't mess that up. There's not extra syllables.
But now we're
Apparently,
completely
Ted G.
diverted from piano. It's okay.
Oh, that's the opposite direction of how we wanted to take it.
Hey
you're
guys,
saying
just
if-
because I was homeschooled doesn't mean I don't know what these words mean. Okay.
But you're saying you worked hard at something,
Yeah.
and it was probably difficult sometimes, but like you worked at it and became better, right?
Through working.
Yeah. Well, and also
That's
I would
something y'all need to freaking learn.
here's
Yo,
the other
Not
thing.
y'all
internet
specifically, but everybody.
Get off your Instagram and your Facebook and your Twitter and
Unless what you're
something of
doing is
your
trying
life.
to build a
I've got
social
a
business
I've got
and
a
social
question.
media.
Yeah,
thing.
then stay on Twitter. and
So you
Instagram.
said part of your motivation was performance. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I would also say too, and this is important. I started playing at church when I was like a kid. Sort of had a in because my dad was in charge of the entire music
Dang, gotcha.
thing at
Nepotism.
church. So like the first Sunday where the piano player called in sick, he was like, "All right, you're up." I was like 12, I think.
Classic nepotism, but I love nepotism. I'm very pro nepotism, by the way. I think it's stupid that we all think it's not good.
No, it's great. It's, great development. But I would say being in an environment where I was playing all the time, was a huge part
around it all
of
the
that.
time.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm turning this episode into like my soapbox episode.
Yeah. What is going on?
I'll take it down a couple notches.
I got a question for you along those lines with performance. So personally, I have performance anxiety when it comes to instrument, specifically tonal instruments that aren't the drums and singing. So what I have found is like I sit here and play piano like at least an hour a day. If somebody comes in the room, I play at maybe 60% of my capacity. I start making mistakes. I mess up. I don't play as good as I can play. I feel like apologizing for shit I do, which I know isn't right and isn't the way to go. Like, I think I just know too much as a producer. Like, my whole job is listening to other people play and judging that performance. And so I'm completely judging my own performance the whole step of the way. And my ability to discern music is much, much higher than my ability to perform music. Drums, I don't have that uncomfortability because I did it from a young age. Piano, guitar, singing. If someone else is here, I'm not as good as I actually am. Whatever that level is.
Sure.
How does somebody? Okay, that's me
So
in specific, but I feel like a lot of people have.
violin. I didn't know you played violin, Tadji. That's good to know.
That? Yeah, so that's okay. So I feel like that's like performance anxiety, and that's a lot of people. Like, how do you get over that? How would you coach somebody? Like, now I can't repeat your circumstances. I can't be 12 and like just be in it. But like, how would you say to somebody who's
Build a time machine.
15? Yeah,
With
Who's somebody
modern
who's-
technology, I mean, who knows what's possible?
for somebody who's 15 or somebody who's 25 or 35 or 40 or wherever they are on the spectrum, but like, I guess 15, you're still fairly young, right? But if you can't grow up on stage, what would you suggest to somebody who knows what to do? How would you coach me to like get over that? And do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's actually really more common than you would think for artists and people who are performers to struggle with performance anxiety. I think really, and this may just be like a really crude overgeneralization, so forgive me, the people who know more about this than I do, but I really think it just comes down to just exposing yourself to that again and again, and maybe finding ways that you can intentionally go out of your way to do that. So like doing something that you're going to fail at. Like, hey, I'm going to play this song for you. Like, come and listen. And like, you're going to mess up. But if you like clear that out of the way first, then it's not as big of a looming like, oh my God.
That's actually something that I have heard very recently. Well, real quick, Bryson, thanks for the bits. You're awesome. Tadji also is currently a 14-year-old violin player and wants all your secrets.
Oh, wow.
Bryson also said, hello, Mary Poppins, referring to you in your terrible British accent. But,
Nice.
How's that? Do you call me
actually-
Mary Poppins? Is that my nickname? How would you know
apparently it is
that?
now. I assume because you're the one with the terrible British accent.
That's a huge
who always
assumption.
Says it's good.
First off,
But he's
my
definitely
British
referring to you.
accent is not terrible. You and your cousin are both accent judgers.
Bryson is a literal British
not-
person and said that was terrible.
I didn't do an accent today.
Not today.
The last time I did accent,
We had a whole
he said it was
segment on you
terrible.
doing different accents
No.
that were all
What
sounded
Bryson
the same.
said
Wait, we're
was all your
still dissing
accents
you.
sound the same.
All your accents sound the same.
All my variety of British accents
But
sound
anyway,
the same. He didn't say they're
that's just
terrible.
a side note.
That's fine.
main
I
note.
don't care what Bryson thinks. I once did my
like
British
Bryson.
accent. I've
Friend
done
of
my
the
British
show.
accent in front of multiple British people who said
They were being
that I did a good job.
But-
I would happen to think Bryce. I like Bryson. Whatever.
Bryson's great.
Whatever.
Bryson,
I'm not
he
British.
just-
It's
he's making
fine.
fun of you
I
because
try.
The votes are in, Bryson. You're awesome.
We just have to give you shit
Yeah,
about it.
I've always liked Bryson. I've always liked him better than you.
But actually, my
comes
wife
out.
recently, so she's at a job where she's making phone calls all the time, and she's
My
constantly
sister.
scared. Yeah, his sister, my wife.
Oh, okay. I see the connection.
Yeah, people. We always reveal on the show. It's not like a secret. but-
Wow.
No, I told you
Mind
before.
blown.
You knew before, right?
But
You know how families work.
I mean, I knew it had to be one of two things. Either you were married or you have a sister who's married and you're not married. So I did a little bit of deductive reasoning.
but she kind of said the same thing. She said she's going to try at her job. She's like terrified to get on the phone, and her whole job is making calls. And this is a few months ago. She's much better now. But she was just like, I know I just got to do it because the more I fail at it, the better I'm going to get because I'll get over that.
Absolutely. No, and that's kind of actually the same thing that I was talking about
Yeah,
with
exactly.
like the social anxiety stuff, like exposure to what you are afraid of over and over. And I think that's the important part is like repeatedly your brain starts to learn, oh, this isn't that scary. Like I can actually handle this. So I think the trick is just finding a balance between what you're comfortable with and what you're not. So like if you were to like book a show for yourself playing keys and like promote it, that might be like a little too far outside the comfort zone because you know that might just be like overkill. But like I said, like if you were to be like I don't know, hey Aaron, you play keys, come listen to this. You actually sent me that thing.
Yeah.
on,
Did you even listen?
Yeah.
Public confrontation.
Oh gosh.
You gave me no feedback. You can give it to me later.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, we'll talk.
right now.
That wasn't performance. That was composition. Different.
Okay.
But
Yeah, you're right.
don't judge it by its
it wasn't
performance.
live.
Well, also wasn't good. But
Small detail.
yeah. Okay, let me get more specific. If this stops applying to other people, maybe it does, and maybe that's good. Like, but
No, you're the only one.
they
who
say in
struggles with
songwriting,
this problem, Ryan.
they say in songwriting like the universal is the most specific, right? So maybe this applies to people. For me specifically, I grew up, and most of the time I played piano was at my grandma's house. And most of the time we're over at my grandma's house, it was like a Sunday or something, and all of most of the family was in the room or the other room watching sports, watching something, and I was playing piano, and I would get yelled at for playing too loud. So because of that, I played really soft. Like I learned how to play with a damper pedal on, and I learned how to play as quiet as I could so I wouldn't get yelled at. So it's an additional layer of anxiety that when you say play in front of people, I played in front of people all the time. But in my specific situation, nobody was listening, nobody cared, and I was trying to not be heard. Does that make sense? I'm trying to play piano for me, and I don't want anybody to hear because they're going to get mad at me.
Absolutely.
So what do I do?
Total
Because
sense.
so playing in front of people, I feel like, I mean, I'm here.
Well,
I'll
it's-
be here alone, and I know that the guys are upstairs, and I don't know if they can hear me. Right? Like I have actually no idea
Does it
if
make
they
you
can
more
hear.
reserved,
I can
though?
hear them. So it makes me more reserved, and I honestly, like, this is getting deep here, but or just I feel vulnerable, but. Like
We're only how
I'm
many
in
minutes
here.
into this podcast now?
42.
I feel vulnerable,
Right?
but-
Time passes quick.
I play as I'm playing different songs that I play. Like there's some songs I feel very comfortable with. Other songs that I play, I'm learning. But in either case, like there's only so many songs that I play, and I think about if I'm overplaying the same songs, if they're hearing and if they're like, oh, he's playing that same fucking song again that he always
Now hold
plays.
on. Can I throw out there?
Oh, he's playing
you?
fucking Tears for Fears again. He always plays Tears for Fears.
So maybe now this is not.
That's the one I play.
Of course it is.
It's a great song.
Now this is not really the.
Shit, but I got to pause because we got to. Maybe you could get Hattie Bs.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, you can go because I have something else first, and then this other thing applies to you.
Sorry, guys, we were hungry.
Taji says, well, then we've got Hattie Bs, which whoever in Nashville is delicious.
Oh, it's the best.
Taji says, everyone in his class is so good, and he plays second violin, an easier part, in parentheses, and it makes him feel like he's worse, and he's going to mess up more. That's the thought. I don't know if you have any input on that. Or
Interesting. I mean, I think that, like, everyone's on a spectrum, everyone's in a different place. I think it all.
Actually, that's what I was going to say is maybe you should play something for us right now to work on that.
To remind us you do music.
Right. Yeah. While you break open the Hattie Bs.
Amen.
Seriously, it is the best hot chicken in Nashville. That is my opinion. I know there are those who disagree with me.
People are on the Princess train.
I sure hope they.
That's the original, right?
I guess so.
But
I'm not a fan of the 30-minute line outside.
Did
I wish they'd have like heaters on cold days.
What?
Like when it's, one of those Nashville winter days and it's like minus 70 degrees. That's an exaggeration.
He's the plate.
And there's that line like outside the Hattie Bs. I'm like, that's crazy. That's rough.
Yeah, it is. I've stood in that line many a time.
It shows your dedication, actually.
Do we get two sides?
He gets two sides. We get one side.
We get one. Okay. I was like,
high quality content.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Apparently, I'm a big pig here.
This is an important Nashville. This is great information for Nashville visitors. Hattie B is the place to go.
Taji says, chicken delaying. Aaron, give me some valuable advice.
Sorry about that.
The way you just pronounced that was so ruined the meaning for me. Chicken delaying, Aaron giving me valuable advice.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah.
You just said chicken delaying, Aaron giving me valuable advice. Sound like two different statements.
Yeah, okay. I don't think the part that you play has anything to do. I mean, obviously, like they'll chair the people that they think are more skilled higher, but it has to do with your mindset. So this is a topic I love talking about. I'm going to try to not go off on a tangent because I'm a behavioral psychology nerd and I love reading about this stuff. So there's a really good book that I honestly recommend everyone read because it is so valuable to everybody. So there's this book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. And the basics, I'll give you like the Cliff Notes version. The basic synopsis is there are two types of people in the world. Those who have a fixed mindset and those who have a growth mindset. The fixed mindset basically says, and forgive me if I butcher this, but it's basically you are born with a certain level of skills and abilities. You just have to kind of play the hand you're dealt in life. And if you come up short, like if you try something and you fail at it, it means that you're just not good enough. And so what the fixed mindset leads you to believe is, oh, well, in order to get where I want to go, I kind of have to like fake my way through it to like make myself look better than I am. And that leads to like cheating on tests, like trying to cut corners, all sorts of things to get around the feeling of failure. Whereas if you have a growth mindset, you believe that you can improve at anything that you want to improve at with effort. So it's the mindset of like how you view failure. Failure to a fixed mindset person is failure to achieve a certain result in a specific situation, whereas failure to a growth mindset person is failure to try, because the failure to failing and learning from your failure and trying again and getting better is the process that everyone has to go through to get better. If you avoid that process because you're afraid of being judged or judging yourself, you will never grow. And that to a growth mindset person is like, that is what failure is.
So how do you break out of that? If you are in that mindset, not that you're a licensed therapist or anything, but you've clearly
I feel like I'm
researched,
starting to
you've
turn
read.
into like the resident therapist here on
the music
City,
therapist.
Music Row Hideout podcast. I honestly, I don't know exactly how to answer that question. I mean, it is a choice. But it's kind of a choice you have to repeatedly make, I think, when you become aware. And I'm guilty of this. Like, I respond to things out of a fixed mindset more often than I would like to. And I think it's just a matter of becoming aware of that and going, oh, I am avoiding, working, like, so maybe working on this track for this artist because I feel like it's not going to be good enough. And realizing, like, oh, I just have to do it. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. But at least I will learn something and get better by doing it. So I don't know if that helps with the
Have you ever felt that way about any tracks I sent you? Because I've sent you at least like how many tracks have I sent you over time? Like at least
I've
30,
definitely
40?
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Maybe not 40. 40
yeah,
seems
I
high, but it's
hesitate
more than
to send
20.
stuff back to you a lot because I'm like, I don't know if this is original enough, creative enough, whatever.
And I feel like I have only one time ever listened to a track that you said and been like, hey, could you try again? Only one time.
I suck.
But every single other time you sent me something, I've been happy the first time.
No, it's full of ice. It's not empty. It's full of ice. Hype. It's not just a random empty bowl. I promise.
Having secret conversations with.
Yo,
He just said you got a big ass empty bowl because it looks empty. I promise there's a reason.
You have to see into the bowl. Oh, I guess on the
because you can see it just
looks
looks
like
white.
you can.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me. I had this really weird dream 2 nights ago where I got a new bartending job at a place that has draft beer because the Mexican restaurant I work at does not have draft beer. It's a huge letdown to
I
a lot
hate
of people.
bars that don't have draft beer.
It's just the way it is. Honestly, it's a lot less to deal with as a bartender. But I was learning how to pour draft beer, and every time I poured it, there were these huge ice crystals that would come out of the tap. Like the beer glass was full of ice, just like that. Like,
wow.
What am I doing wrong?
Oh wow,
That's like a bartender nightmare.
that's real bad.
Yeah.
It's probably not your fault. It's the fault of the thing.
Yeah, apparently somehow giant ice crystals were coming out of the beer lines.
So, okay,
Riddle me this.
we were talking about my social anxiety or my performance anxiety, and then Hattie Bs came, which did kind of make me feel a lot better, by the way. So maybe that is the answer.
Your free pass out of the situation.
Yeah, but if you're,
Well, I wanted to go back to what you were saying. I'm no therapist, but
Yeah.
it does seem that maybe you kind of learned. I mean, how old were you when that was happening? Like you were doing the piano thing in the other room, and people were sort of like, "Hey, that's kind of annoying. Keep it down," or whatever.
like, dude, like 5 to 10.
Yeah. So that seems to me
You
like
could say the
sort of
formative
thing-
years.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're sort of wet pavement at that point in your life. I think if you sort of learn like,
Never
when,
heard that phrase.
when I play stuff, other people don't like it, so I have to be really quiet. So there may be some sort of honestly, and I don't know. I think therapy can help with that kind of thing. I also think just doing it can help with that kind of thing. So like retrain your brain to be like, oh, when I play, people actually want to listen to me. That may be the thing to do is just like get in an environment where people are there to hear you play. Even if it's friends like me,
Yeah.
I will come over to your studio for half an
here.
hour. I'm here.
Yeah.
So next up, Ryan Poole on the keyboard.
Okay, so, don't tempt me.
Yeah, once he starts, it's hard to get him to stop. I live with him. I know.
Okay, so, one step further, the vulnerability thing, eh?
I hope I'm not making chewing noises in this microphone.
So,
If you are, we'll just call it ASMR.
My grandma, whose house it is I played these pianos at, she is like a really, really good classically trained pianist.
Okay.
Now, I don't know, once you get to like that level of piano player, I don't know how to judge anymore. But she plays at a level that's beyond my comprehension. And now, of course, I was a little kid.
Okay.
But like she plays at a high level. So she'd be in the other room and be saying things about, hey, stop, don't hold the sustain pedal all the time.
That's actually just same thing like Taji is saying right now. He said he realized that's what his sister does. She always yells at him when he's playing violin. Because their rooms are right next to each other. And, it's like, shut up. I don't want to hear that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting phenomenon. So there's actually, going back to the mindset thing for a second. So one of the biggest sort of curveball piece of advice that this book throws out there is don't praise people for their achievements, because what that does is it encourages people that, oh, you have worth and value because you did this job really well. So in the implied thing is like, if you don't do the next job well, you're not going to get the same level of praise. So I mean, it applies to everything, to like
That's really curveball.
teaching to parenting. It's like don't praise people for their achievements. Praise people for the effort that they exert to work toward becoming who they want to be. So like,
interesting.
And I think you could use that on yourself too. Like, you know, maybe like you try something, I don't know, learning a new piece, writing something new on piano, or like playing for a bunch of friends or whatever. And you might totally...
So I played probably 7 hours last week. I could probably praise myself for playing that fucking much piano.
Yeah, absolutely. Just be like...
There's a lot of effort if it wasn't necessarily whether it was achievement or not.
Yeah, like I wanted to get better at this. I put forth the effort to do it. That's a win.
Taji, performing the violin, even though his sister's in the other room yelling at him, still playing the violin. That's some real effort there. We got to praise you for that. Well done.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, lock your sister's door. Is she a younger sister or an older sister?
Oh yeah, that does make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she's younger,
Lock that door.
yeah, lock the door and be like, screw you, I do what I want. If she's older and she beats you up, well, that's a whole other problem.
Yeah. Start practicing in the garage. You know? So I was gonna say.
We're all furiously trying to shove food in our face.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing I was gonna say, where I was going with that grandma thing, was to say, she not only has she been critical of my piano playing, but also I one time heard her in the other room. She was talking with a friend, and she was being critical of my piano playing, thinking I couldn't hear her, but I could, which makes it way worse.
That's 100 times worse.
Oh man,
right?
Because then you know it's not just about you. It's like, oh, other people are talking about how bad I am.
Right. Now let me jump.
That's a pretty man.
No, it's Hattie B.
Right?
It's Hattie B's currency.
So let me jump ahead, okay? Now,
Currency is
so
my
I've been,
wife.
like I said, I've been playing a lot recently, and I just started renting my B studio out to some guys, and they're all musicians on some level. I don't think any of them really play keys, but I could be wrong. But anyways, I've been in here. I've been complimented like 4 or 5 times by different people that either work there or their friends are like, oh, wow, I heard you playing piano. It was really great. Internally, when people compliment my piano playing, I judge them. I either think they're just being nice, or I think they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're not good enough at music to understand that I'm not that
Along
good.
the same lines, Karinsky, your sister, said that your grandma made her cry and she never wanted to play piano around her again.
Yeah.
Sounds like maybe there's some business to take care of with your with your grandmother.
No, I love my grandma. We've gotten a lot closer as she's gotten older. But just let's keep this off of my
And Hype
grandma.
says he'd fight your grandma.
Yeah.
She's
I mean,
amazing.
no, yeah, to be clear, their grandma is pretty
and,
awesome.
And it could have been anybody. It could have been a teacher. It could have been an aunt. It could have been someone that you worked for. It could have been anybody.
But keeping it not off my grandma because I'm offended. My grandma's who my grandma is.
Oh, I'm sure your grandma's
amazing and also terrible, and she knows she was terrible, and she was never terrible, to be honest. Just whatever.
She's a
let's just say
perfectionist.
she's a perfectionist. She's
That's
a
what Kirsty
person.
said.
There was good and bad.
Sure.
And way more good than bad. But I want to keep it off of my grandma for the sake of people like Taji over here or others who could be helped by this. Like,
And he said
what
his
would you
sister's
say?
19 and he's 14, by the way.
Because I feel like to me the crux here is. Sorry, say that again.
His sister's 19. He's 14.
19. Oh, and you're 14. Okay.
Yeah.
Lock your door. Okay, so
It's probably the most invaluable piece of advice.
so for
that you
others, the
get.
part of what I said that I feel like is maybe the more generally applicable outside of piano as well is the feeling that if other people praise what you're doing, they must just not know. Like it lowers them in your eyes to get praise. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, I can see that, especially in your life. Like, I'm not going to make this the therapy for Ryan podcast. But with your mom always saying how good you are at everything and telling everybody we run into you on the street how amazing you are and how that's like a personal, like, embarrassment.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, super uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable just to be around it.
I got this weird thing where women in my life have high praise for my creative abilities. Except for my grandma, who's extremely perfectionistic and has no praise for those things. Yeah, and it's hard to respect the people who... It's easier to respect the opinion that puts you down and puts you in your place and says like, hey, you're not there, you're not, than the opinion that's like, you're just perfect. And I'm like, I know I'm not perfect. I know I just messed up. I know I just played a bad note.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Especially when you have that person in your life that is super critical. That I think it kind of makes you doubt any positive reinforcement that comes your way because you're like, oh, well, you're just, like you said, you're being nice or you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Because this other person over here really gets it and they think I suck. So obviously I suck.
Right. Yeah.
So,
let's talk about that. Personal development, Aaron. What do you think?
Hey, Turbo.
I think you're never as bad as your worst critic, and you're never as good as your biggest fan thinks you are.
Except for me, I'm as good as my biggest fan thinks me is. I'm pretty amazing.
Who is Jury's biggest fan? Let him know by donating bits.
So
That was really good.
I was partially trying to ask you a question to give you a chance to eat.
Oh, you're good.
But in the opposite thing, it's not KFC, it's Hattie Bs.
Oh, man.
Stop calling it KFC. KFC's fine, but Hattie Bs is amazing.
Yeah.
If you come to Nashville,
The
eat
difference
Hattie Bs.
between
satisfying.
KFC and Hattie Bs is like, oh gosh.
Not even the same category.
No.
No. Oh, I do love Hattie Bs, man. I've eaten
like,
that.
It's like comparing
much.
a Honda Accord to like a Beamer.
Yeah. Or even a good car.
They're. Wait. Just kidding. We must have really high car standards around here. Nothing wrong with the Honda Accord.
We are
it's just not a Beamer.
We are the Benz
Or a
Bros.
Lamborghini. Oh, okay.
I don't have a Benz. But to try to purposely derail us into getting back to music.
Music. That's what this is about. We're talking about
Or re-rail us?
Yeah, reroll. We've been talking about music this whole time, just in slightly broader terms. But
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
And also to make your eating situation unfortunate, would you be interested in playing another song?
Oh, I would love to play another song. You know, one common symptom of people who struggle with social anxiety is fear of eating in front of other people. So I realize
This is good exposure.
I'm eating in front of the entire internet.
This
All
is
of them.
therapy.
This is very therapeutic.
Al Gore's watching right now.
Oh,
Hey, Al.
man.
Do y'all subscribe to Kev on Stage at all? I know you don't.
No.
No, Kev on Stage for the Instagrammers out
It says
there.
we're all watching you eat.
Kev on Stage is a comedian, and he just rants on different internet videos basically, but he always calls it Al Gore's internet. He's like, today on Al Gore's internet, I found this and that. Like,
As opposed to what?
The actual internet.
well, it's like
Al Gore made a
to get a
comment
little more
one time.
a little more context. So
AOL?
he's an African American comedian, and he has a very like church bent. Like he's not PG, but like he's definitely from the culture of like growing up in church and speaks to that audience a lot, and like specifically like the black church, like in that whole culture. So like that's very much like his vibe. And so when he says that, it sounds a lot like God's green earth or something, or like today on God's earth. He's like on Al Gore's internet.
Oh my gosh. For the record, Liz says not only is she watching you eat, but she actually full screen and zoomed in on your face specifically to get all the details.
I'll just accept it.
Yeah, dude, you're
Okay.
getting over it. We're all moving past things today. This
So-
is the self-acceptance podcast.
So, what are you going to play for us? Oh, wait, hold on. I got to unmute your mic. I think. I don't know which one it is. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. I am going to play a song that I co-wrote with my good friend who has also been on this podcast.
More than once.
Roger Yeager. If you're listening, Roger. Hey man, you're awesome. I love you. This song was one of my first co-writes. Honestly, co-writing is one of those things that I think probably have some anxiety around. So, which is why I haven't done it a whole lot. But Roger was nice enough to kind of go out of his way to ask me if I wanted to write with him, and I was like, Roger doesn't seem like he's gonna like think I'm a terrible person when he finds out how terrible I am at writing. So sure, I'll try it. Feels safe enough. So this is my first co-write, and it's a song called Robots. It was on Roger's release Start Over, produced by this wonderful man, Ryan Poole, who really brought it to life. And yeah, it's just a song about, like kind of there's the world that wants you to like kind of has certain expectations for you, and you want to actually follow your heart and what that looks like. So without further ado, here's Robots. They tell me to stay where it's safe, danger's too great in the unknown, because you don't know if you would survive out there. So don't waste your time chasing pipe dreams. Yeah, it's the wrong thing, but what they got doesn't look so good to me. They're like robots following their routine, saying just give in, be a part of the machine. I want a beating heart, won't let my hopes slip into the dark. Don't wanna become a mechanical slave, wanna live my life before it's too late. I want a beating heart, I'm no robot. I hear the creak of the gears, smoke rising high in the distance, but I'm resistant. I come alive right here, I come alive chasing my dreams. Think that's what I need, 'cause what they got doesn't look so good to me. They're like robots following their routines, singing just give in, be a part of the machine. I want a beating heart, won't let my hopes slip into. Don't wanna become a mechanical slave, wanna live my life before it's too late. I want a beating heart, I'm no robot. Time is worth too much to spend on living someone else's life. Every minute is a chance to choose my destiny. Oh, will we all embrace indifference when we know there's more inside? I can either let it out or let it die. I want a beating heart, won't let my hopes slip into the dark. No, won't wanna become a mechanical slave, wanna live my life before it's too late. I want a beating heart, I'm no robot.
We did get a hey in chat and then said, sorry, that's the wrong song.
Thank you.
What
Thank
song
you
were
for
they
the
so
hey.
excited about?
The last song where we went, hey, and told them to say hey in chat and they didn't.
Oh,
Did you not catch that? Yeah.
I thought they meant like,
Hey, better late than never.
hey, this is my jam, and then they're like, oh, wrong song, never mind.
And also we
Got
got a co-write with Roger. He knows Roger. Is Roger there?
No, Roger and I.
Roger's in Georgia right now. Sorry.
And Roger, for everybody, is Roger Yeager.
Right. And we actually did post a link
J-A-E-G-E-R.
to. We posted while he was playing a Spotify link to the actual recorded song that you co-wrote.
Very
Change
cool.
cameras.
Oh, fool!
Way to take advantage of this podcast, Roger. Way to direct it to your own, bottom line.
That being said, this actually also makes the perfect opportunity to post any links that you would like to post to people. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, Snapchat, which is only for dick pics. Spotify, Google Play.
Pianist pics?
No, dick pics.
Hey, I am a pianist. Yeah. I'll post some pianist pics on this chat.
Oh my God. That's the title of the episode. Pianist pics.
Oh god.
Can I look you up on
This feels
Spotify?
a lot like that Key and Peele.
I know you're on a bunch of stuff.
I don't know that I have any artist stuff on Spotify, and if I do,
I will close Spotify.
it's going to be the record that I recorded and produced of myself by myself in high school, and you don't want to listen to that.
So you don't want to promote that.
But here's the thing: if you go search on Spotify for Aaron Smith, you're going to come up with this DJ who does this song called "Dancin'," which is a really fun groove, but it's not me at all.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm not going to link that then.
No.
What would you like
Here's
people to go
Dancing
check
by
out?
a different Aaron Smith.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. As far as music stuff goes, I don't have a lot of myself out there. I've just played a whole bunch for a whole bunch of other people.
Yo, listen to all of Roger Yeager, both of Roger Yeager's last two albums, Start Over and Fall Off the Earth.
I feel like you're
Aaron's
self-promoting a
most
little
the
there.
keyboards.
But also watch the music video because I'm the star of the music video. For the record.
Have you seen
Somebody
the
link the
elevator
music video for
package deal.
Elevator.
Have you seen the elevator music video?
Yeah.
Do you
the
remember
star.
how Roger saves this guy who's drowning in the water?
That's me.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Nice.
The star.
We had somebody else on this podcast. Also, coincidentally, she was in that video. But she saw when she came here. She's like, "No, we've met before." Like she subconsciously. I was thinking about. I'm like, I don't think they've met before. And then we realized,
We
they
just
were
saw
in
you
the same
drowning
video.
one time. Very nice. I will say,
If anybody would like to see Jury drown, look up Roger Yeager Elevator. In that music video,
I also edited
he
that video
drowns.
entirely by myself.
He did. I did pay him to delete all of the junk scenes from it and to get rid of
I
the
did
bad.
10 hours
You
of work
did-
on that video. Which
You did
took
do 10
200
hours of work that I spent 2 months on. I appreciated that 10 hours of work. Again, contrast that with 2 months.
this feels like a little.
I spent a good 48 hours on the
dispute.
color.
I feel like
I just like to bring it up and tell everyone I'm the star. I did all the work.
if y'all need to step out, I can carry this on as y'all carry on your
Yeah.
brotherly business.
Get the hell out of here. We're fighting. We're like the oasis of podcast. Fighting brothers.
Sure.
You just don't know Oasis enough
I
to
don't know
understand
Oasis
that
enough,
joke.
Except
Yeah.
for I know
I just know Wonderwall.
The Gallagher brothers.
Everyone knows Wonderwall.
everyone knows Wonderwall.
Speaking of,
Anyways,
I'm not going to cover that song.
good man.
Yeah, just as a favor to the world. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
It's just everyone does.
Today,
and that's the joke, right?
Yeah.
That's the meme.
there's
just
a
gotta be a little
wonderful,
more-
wonderful meme that I discovered on my own, and it starts off. It says, "Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you," and then it has a picture of a Groupon that says,
I fucking
"Buy
texted
now,
this to you.
buy now, Prosecco and a wow burlesque show plus a meal for two."
It's Prosecco.
Wow.
Prosecco.
Someone
the
thought
wine.
about that way too long.
Today's gonna be the day that
It's
you're gonna throw it back
great.
to you. Buy now, Prosecco and a wow burlesque show plus a
keep
meal
saying
for
Prosecco.
I
two.
know.
How do you say it?
That low
Do
class
we all know what
motherfucker.
this is?
It's wine.
Sparkling wine.
Oh, that's why I don't know, because I'm not a bitch. I drink red wine like a he-man.
Okay.
Prosecco.
That's a weird classification.
Yeah.
Sparkling. Surely it is
No
not.
comment.
Tabby says I'm 14 and I know that.
Sparkling wine.
Yeah.
Sparkling wine. You going to represent that as a fine drink for a dude to drink?
Prosecco is delicious. It's
Sparkling wine.
Realistically,
When
it's
is it?
champagne not made
We've
in
gone
France.
there. It
Right.
is truly 2019.
It's champagne.
I don't belong in
Well,
this world
champagne
anymore.
is sparkling wine that's made in the Champagne region of
Right.
France.
Right.
Just to settle the debate for
and
anyone.
that is perfectly fine
And delightful.
because it's for holiday experiences.
What?
Let the awkward pause go longer. Yeah, you ruined it. Okay. The point is, red wine is where it's at. It's not weird that I didn't know Prosecco. Am I saying it right yet?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You know, Ryan, I have an inclusive wine policy. I tolerate all wines.
As long as it's alcoholic wine.
Then you're hella advanced. But I'm
what
more
is
of a man.
non-alcoholic wine? Welch's grape
Yeah, just
juice.
grape juice.
Yeah.
Grape juice.
You know,
Okay, Aaron, real
has its
quick.
place.
Did you see this on my Instagram? Yes or no?
Yes,
For
I knew
the-
exactly.
for the podcast.
I had to explain it
He's
to
showing
Roger
a meme.
for the
Yes.
record.
I thought,
To be fair, I had to explain the previous
Pigeon
one to
on a
Ryan.
chair.
yeah. Yeah.
We should post these in the chat so people can see them.
Oh, yeah. How would we, well, you can find,
I'll Google it.
just search pigeon on a chair. Yeah, and you show the chat. Okay, all right, back to music. Okay, so here's something we haven't talked about at all. My bad, this should have been in the intro. So, Aaron, when I met Aaron, you were producing for Julie True. Would you say producing? Was that your role, or it was kind of more than that?
It sort of started, well, okay, so it started as, hey, we need someone to mix this record. So I was like, okay, I'm fresh out of college and I need to work, so I'm going to do it.
I'll mix this record.
That kind of slowly evolved into, and we had been, I had met Julie, for those of you who don't know who Julie True is, she is a worship leader who writes and records what she calls soaking music, which is just really chill, meditative worship music, kind of the thing you can like put on in the background and like fall asleep to, or you know have like a life-changing spiritual experience to, maybe. Yeah, like the same as like, where are we going with that? I don't know.
No, we're not going
He
anywhere.
just wanted the liquor.
No.
Yeah.
I wanted liquor. I didn't want you to stop talking. You didn't have to acknowledge it.
So Julie, so she and I met before then, like while I was in school still at Belmont, and so I started working with her just kind of like off and on whenever she had stuff to do, and eventually that kind of morphed into like, hey, we need someone to like help us run our business. So I spent about 2 years just kind of full timing it out with her and her husband, doing everything from engineering her records to working on her website to fulfilling shipments to answering customer support tickets. Like, I got my feet wet in a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and
wow.
I'm actually grateful for that experience because it's kind of I don't know, it's I like variety, and it's given me a lot of well-roundedness, I guess. But yeah, I guess it's slowly morphed from an engineering role into a producer role. But I've worked on the last, I think, 7 or 8 records that she's done.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It's very different than like the typical production method, in that most of her, most, if not all of her records are done like this. Live recordings every week, and basically go through a year's worth of live recordings and find like what the best stuff is, and take the live recordings and piece those together in an album that kind of sounds like a studio record.
Oh, wow. That's
And
very different.
It is very different, but it's worked really well for her because she and her husband have been able to make that their full-time business with virtually no touring or anything else for the last 10 plus years.
That's crazy.
And how have they done that?
So I would say a pivotal point in her career was she was aired on a TV show called It's Supernatural, which is hosted by this guy named Sid Roth.
I assume that's not the same show as the show Supernatural.
No, very
Okay.
different.
Which we are avid fans
We're
of.
huge fans.
So does Sid Roth, is he like a vampire hunter, or is he more of like a
In a manner
werewolf
of
guy?
speaking, yeah, no, he gets people on his show that are just like having these supernatural experiences, and so Julie's whole thing is like, well, you know, people experience these like miraculous things when they listen to her music, like healings and crazy stuff. So she was on this. She got her music on Elijah List, which was like a online. I don't know. Maybe this might be too crude to say, but like Spotify for charismatic Christians.
Very niche. Very niche.
I was just trying to relate it to people outside that bubble, but it's very. So she got picked up through that, and she basically picked up a following overnight from that TV show appearance. Is how I understand it. And so from that, she was able to find her market niche and market to them directly. And these people like love what Julie does. And so she's been able to make that work for the last 10 years.
Wow.
So
now you
kind of an anomaly.
also, outside of that, I know this only because of what you sent us that we asked you to send us, but you also were a pianist for...
Matt.
I don't listen to CCM.
Yeah,
Matt,
you're good.
That was the
Maher?
next segment.
Maher? Matt Maher?
Can I just say, I've heard so
I haven't listened to CCM
many,
for years.
If I had $1 for every mispronunciation of his last name,
I was literally asking people
I've
at
heard
work today.
Mathers.
Mathers? That's
Yeah.
just wrong. What is he, Eminem? Marshall?
Yeah.
I was asking people at work, as I work at Belmont, and it is
Oh, yeah.
a Christian university, kind of.
By affiliation.
Sure.
Yes.
I asked some people at work, and I said, "Oh," because I was reading your stuff, and I said, "Oh, do you guys know this person?" And yeah, some people did. But they had no idea who I was talking about at first because I was
Okay.
I was like, Maher. I think someone eventually figured it out.
Yeah.
I think they said was it Maher or Maher?
It's
Mar
Mar
John
like
Mayer?
car.
Mar like car.
Mar like car.
That's yes.
Okay.
So you played keys for Matt
Mar like car.
like car.
Now you're gonna remember it because it'd be perfect.
Tell
every
us
time.
about
Except for
that.
I'm gonna think his name is Mar like car.
Who is Matt Carmar?
So Matt Maher is. I came up with this. I think he's the Neil Diamond of Christian music.
Okay.
Okay.
You may not know who he is, but you know his songs.
Really?
Okay.
If you
Try
are
us.
in
Yeah.
the church world,
Right. So
I'm assuming
he's,
not everybody does.
he is, first of all, good friend and very accomplished songwriter. He has written for Chris Tomlin, David Crowder, tons of people.
which for those of you who are not in that scene are very big names in
right
that.
Inside the Christian world, he writes for the biggest of the biggest. And so he some of the songs, like if you go to church anywhere where they sing newer songs than hymns, you might know Lord, I Need You. That song actually just went platinum, which is really exciting.
That's crazy.
Congratulations, Matt, for that. And
He watches the show.
How's that song
yeah,
go?
of course.
Every week. Yeah.
Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you.
Oh yeah, I've heard that song.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you haven't heard that song, you've probably heard the hymn that it was based on. So, there you go. But Matt will say in his own admission, he steals songs from dead people. That's how he makes a living.
That's the right way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. They're all public domain. It's a good business model.
Until Disney ruined the public domain, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, thanks, Disney. What was the question? I forgot.
I was just bringing it up as a
Yeah.
here's the next thing to discuss.
Okay, so
Yeah,
who? What other songs has he written? Like,
So other songs that are big are All the People Said Amen, Because He Lives. What else? Like right now, singles are What a Friend. He's also written on Come As You Are, which is a David Crowder song, but he wrote on that. White Flag is a Chris Tomlin song that he wrote on. And I feel like I should know more because I played with him for almost 3 years, but there's so many songs. Yeah, he's just a very prolific writer. But yeah, I would playing with him, probably a career highlight. Got to travel to 46 states and 13 countries.
wow.
During my time with him.
That's a lot.
So
That's a lot of states and a lot of countries.
It's a lot of travel.
I have not been to either that many states or that many countries,
Yeah.
I've been to that many states,
but not
not that many countries.
I've been
Yeah.
to 11 countries. Not quite there.
Okay. Well, you're not far behind.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Okay, so let's start with like, how did that happen? How did you start working for somebody who's out there who plays an instrument? How did you make the jump from I play an instrument to I'm playing with somebody on the road?
Sure. So,
And how would you recommend somebody else get into that?
yeah, well,
Really,
I mean, it's all about, like any industry, it's all about relationships and who you know and building relationships. So one of my good friends, whose name is Mitch Parks, actually was playing keyboard in Matt Maher's band before I was. And he is just a really great person in addition to a killer musician and producer. He met up with me one night in Nashville, and this was when I was doing, I wanted to be on the road, but I didn't have any opportunities on the table. And I got together with Mitch one night. He was in town. He's an Atlanta-based producer, but he was in Nashville working with a band that he was producing. And we got dinner one night, and he was basically just like, hey, here's the deal. Like, I want to try to get you like in the game, basically. And so he's like, I'm going to try to finagle this. So like, we figure out how to get you in somewhere. And I had already been thinking about it. And so I told him like, yeah, I do want to be on the road. And, there's a lot more detail to this story, but the short version is like, Matt ended up retooling his whole band. Mitch became the music director, which means he's sort of like in charge of hiring the band. And so we played musical chairs. I ended up jumping in on keys, and he moved over to bass, which he also plays. He played bass. He was the band leader of a Christian band called After Edmund for like 10 years. And so
I know that band.
After Edmund?
Yeah, did they come? I think they played at Future Quest, at the church we used to go to in San Diego.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. After Edmund, it was a reference to the Narnia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The character in Narnia.
Yeah, exactly.
I swear I know that. It's just like that triggered something in my mind that I was like, I've seen them. This is many years ago.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a random story, but I mean, the long and short of it is, yeah, it was just kind of the right thing at the right time. Honestly, it was a God thing. Like, not to get into like religion or whatever, but it was just like, I had
we generally try to stay away from it, but it's really hard to talk about worship music.
Yeah. Well, let's not
CCM.
call it religion, let's call
CCM.
it relationship with God. No, okay. So
That worked in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay, I'm a little behind the times here. I had this very clear moment where I was sitting on my couch. It was like fall of 2014, and it was just like this thought popped into my head. I was like, I want to be on the road in a year. And it was like clear. It was like this whole thing. Like I was aware in the moment, like I need to pay attention to this. Like this is not just me thinking. And so, yeah, that kind of led into the whole conversation of like, hey, I want to get you involved in the whole touring thing. And I was like, well, funny you should say that. I just had this random thought like about 6 months ago.
Wow.
So, and it just was like the alignment of a lot of being in the right place at the right time, honestly. So,
Yeah. So you went on the road, you traveled 48 states, 13 countries?
yeah,
13 countries. And,
46 states.
okay, so
it's okay. Ryan has enough people correcting him in his life. I just don't want to be one of those voices.
So how could somebody else become that? For the people listening to this who would love to be that, who would love to be on stage with somebody who has an audience and can travel the world, how do you get there?
I would say, so playing, your ability as a musician is important, but it's sort of like your ticket that gets you in the door. And once so definitely like, spend time developing your skill like on an instrument or on your voice if you're a singer, and learn music theory, and learn Nashville numbers, because at least in Nashville, the whole Nashville music industry communicates in numbers. If you don't know numbers, you're going to be like all thumbs. But that being said, it is what gets you in the door. And I think really it's like the currency of relationship. Like the more people that you are connected to, the higher your chance of being involved in things that you want to be involved in. And it's like, it's a really weird balance, because it's like, Nashville is not a town where like you get the sense that everyone's trying to use everyone else. Like there's a lot of collaboration. It's really a friendly town, but I would say
Got that southern charm.
Yeah, maybe add a little southern twang in your accent. That should get you in the door.
Helps.
Man,
Say
I just love playing piano for you, man. I'll tell you what. What?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I would just boil it down to like two things. Like, one, get freakishly good at what you do. Two, go out and be really nice to people. Like, because people, the reality is...
That's good advice for any field. Be
Sure.
freakishly amazing and be super nice.
when you are life of a touring musician, you spend 1 to 2 hours a day actually playing music. The rest of it, you're just hanging out with people or working on other stuff or whatever. But it's like people want to be on the road with, or if you're like not on the road, like say you're a producer or a session musician or whatever, like people want to spend their life with people they enjoy and like hanging out with.
Yeah, totally makes
and
sense.
So if you're a dick, then people aren't going to call you as much because they're like, oh, that guy's like a diva or he's full of himself or whatever. Like,
don't be a dick, be a pianist.
That could be the name of the episode.
That's the name of the episode.
Don't be a dick,
Well
be
said.
a pianist.
Well said.
Trying to remember. I always forget these clever titles to come up with in the episode, and I name it something else. Gotta remember this.
Well, thanks, Taji. He said he said it describes me. I'm freakishly good and nice to people. I kind of classify myself as like pretty okay and kind of a dick, so I appreciate that.
It's not the right formula.
Yeah. Let us know how that one works out for you. Yeah, but then I think that is the reality is, Yeah, and you're right. It does go for any field.
Yeah, sure. For literally anything you do.
Because the reality is, in the music industry, I think this is true for like creative stuff in general, the supply is very high. The demand relatively is pretty low. So to rise to the top of, the pool of people that you could choose to work with takes a little more than, say, like an industry that is maybe the other way around, like the tech industry, for instance, where I think there's something like
desperate for people.
500,000 open positions waiting to be filled.
They're
Or
like,
something
you've
like
seen
that.
a computer before?
Yeah.
Come.
Like, here, we'll worship
Come.
you, So not to say that you should just, be like a terrible person in that field either, because that's not going to get you very far. But
I don't know, man. I heard Steve Jobs was kind of a dick.
yeah,
I heard he also changed. But also, it's different if you're the owner of the company. Wow. Okay. So, what else? Like a really good question around this topic. One thing it's like I'm not a Matt Maher super fan.
Marley Carr?
More like Carr. But if I
I've
feel like
trained you
I
in the
would
way you
have
should
some
go.
really good questions for his keyboard player. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, like, what are those questions?
Well, so you want me to interview myself?
Correct. If you could.
Did you not know what to expect when you came on the show?
If you wouldn't
We don't
mind.
prepare.
Okay, here's a good one.
Yeah.
Mar has a degree in jazz piano. He can play circles around you. Why the hell does he need you in his band?
Because you suck.
Really?
Oh,
he's like
absolutely. He is a far better pianist than I am.
Really?
You heard it here first.
You heard with
Yeah, he's amazing. He's killer. He's an incredible musician, composer, writer. Like, he's produced his own stuff. Like, he's very, very talented. He's an anomaly as an artist, I think, in that way. And so, in just the way that he's multifaceted. And so, the kind of my role, I guess, is for the longest, and this isn't true anymore, unfortunately, but for the longest time, we were like one of the only bands in Christian music that did not use tracks.
Oh, I respect that.
I'm just going to let that simmer for a minute.
Ryan knows we're simmering. Hold on.
Yep. Okay, now we're good.
Ryan knows
use
I
tracks.
personally have an aversion to using tracks live because, in my opinion, it's not live. Not that there's anything wrong with using tracks, and there's lots of good music that does it, blah, 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 caveats of blah, blah, blah. But I have a lot of respect for someone who everything you hear is played live.
Right.
That's
Now-
really cool.
Now, here's the letdown.
Oh.
We used a lot of recorded elements, but they were
Sounds
triggered
an awful lot like tracks.
in real time. So
Okay, well, that's different.
So I
Kinda.
use Mainstage. For anyone who's a keys player, may know what Mainstage is. It's basically the live counterpart to Logic, which is Apple's premier, DAW recording studio program, and it is incredible for a live rig because it is so customizable and it's built really well. And so I had a ton of loops, samples, one-shot triggers, and everything. So I'm basically playing the tracks myself.
Interesting. Okay.
That's a large part of what I did. And also, Matt's probably playing guitar for over half the show, too. And so, other keys stuff. I ended up being on B3, a lot of B3, doing string stuff, and really just covering piano stuff. B3 organ. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you guys have a real B3, or is it like?
No. Sorry.
Most people.
Sorry
don't.
to disappoint.
No, you didn't. Most people don't. It's really.
No,
I feel
played
like
a
that's
Nord.
rare.
And in my opinion, it's the best. It's the closest you can come to a B3 without having to carry like 150 or 200 pounds or whatever that is. It's,
I feel like you got to be. I was literally thinking about this yesterday. Like, if I were the keyboardist in a band, I would want to be the guy who travels with my Rhodes and with my Whirly and with all this stuff.
Oh yeah, but the reality is, there's so much, like, especially during the summer, it's fly date season because one day you'll have a festival you play in New Hampshire, the next day you fly to Texas, and then the next day you fly to British Columbia. So like you have to backline everything, and the reality of getting
What does that mean?
Sorry, backline meaning you have your production manager call the festival and say, I need this keyboard and this guitar amp and these, whatever.
And they do the best they can.
Yeah, and they do the best they can, and you're just not going to get your ideal keys rig that way. So it's great. Like, you can do that if you're on tour and it's a bus tour and you're bringing your own gear everywhere. But the reality is, like, if you're for the majority of artists, I feel like it's just you have to be flexible, and that's why I like Mainstage, because it is flexible. It's customizable. I had a set list set up for compare like working on a keyboard like a motif, Yamaha motif or something, where there's like a ton of in the box programming, and to me it's kind of like difficult to finagle around, and working on Mainstage is like. And I realize I'm getting into like nerdy keyboard player language.
That's fine.
That's cool.
I'm sure some people appreciate it, and other people are completely bewildered.
Or just
That's
totally
allowed.
lost. I lost like 50% or more of your audience. It's okay.
Though I do have to say, someone just commented in chat. Someone named Dead Pool Party, pool with an E,
What?
and said One Bottle Podcast, which makes me go, who are you and how do you know us?
Is that me?
Because I believe we're the Full Bottle Podcast, but that's pretty close. And also
Dead
Pool with an
Party.
E. Leah?
Deadpool Party. I don't know whether to be like.
That's very interesting.
I don't know whether I'm flattered or like fuck you. Yeah, is that Leah?
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Leah making a joke.
She's totally trolling us.
but Leah's Jeep girl.
Yeah.
Except in her trolling Dead Pool Party.
Dead Pool Party.
But maybe it's if they're saying Ryan Poole dead, fuck you. But if they're saying like Deadpool the character who is awesome and everyone loves,
I
but
didn't
with an
think
E
about
at the
that.
end, like my
Because
name,
someone else already took
then
it?
that's really cool of them. I would love to be compared to Deadpool,
That
and
just
that's
seems a little
great.
too
And so I just
coincidental.
don't know what they're doing here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but also we're not the One Bottle Podcast.
We're the Full Bottle
We're the
Podcast.
Full Bottle Podcast.
Correct.
Thank you
and
very
we've got a
much.
little ways to go, but we're doing well.
Yeah.
The bottle's not full
Someone's
anymore.
not pulling their weight.
This is my second old fashioned. Where are
too.
you?
I'm still on number one. Here.
Oh, Aaron, come on, man. Gulp it down. Have a second. Live a little. One old fashioned when you're on the Whole Bottle Podcast.
Here are the
And
bitter
yet,
selections.
Deadpool Party still
I don't
hasn't
think being
said
a lightweight
anything.
is the worst thing that can happen to you in life.
So I will say I've had. It's probably true. So I've had two now. One with the orange, one with the regular.
Okay. Oh, I should have done that.
I like orange.
I do like the orange, but it doesn't taste like an old fashioned to me. It doesn't. It doesn't have the bitter. It's like sweeter. The regular bitters definitely I prefer.
I feel like, okay, so I tried making with Jameson and orange bitters, like an Irish Manhattan
Okay,
or something like
interesting.
that. And I forget what
Well,
you-
Manhattan with sweet vermouth.
Yeah, but it wasn't sweet vermouth. I forget what I used
Okay.
in place of that. But it was sort of the Irish, analogous version of the Manhattan.
No hype. We are not going for 2 bottles. We are the Full Bottle Podcast singular.
Not the double
Though
bottle.
we have done a full
double
bottle
sheet.
plus a 6-pack before.
This is true. Last week. Or
Was that
2 weeks
oh,
ago.
we had 2 guests.
The last
That
episode.
was 2 guests.
Yeah.
That was 2
It
guests.
was 2 guests. That's true.
It still happened.
Now, we've been fairly on topic this episode.
Weirdly
And I
so.
gotta
Like
say-
you probably think we haven't been, but weirdly this is the most on topic we've ever been.
I gotta
Not
say,
most.
That's probably my fault.
it's
No,
about
dig it.
time for a tangent.
I was actually gonna say we should play another song first.
That's so on
Tangent
point.
song. Tangent
Yeah.
song.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we'll do a
it's
song
been
and then we'll go on a
35 minutes
tangent.
since we played a song.
But first, you gotta finish your drink
creation.
That I
not
just
took
poured.
it, but finished
creating. Did you create it?
It's created.
Okay. Absorb a small amount and then give us a song. You see, I view drinking alcohol very differently than most people. I view it as absorption.
I mean, technically, you're true. You are absorbing it into your
It's not really
bloodstream,
dashing well.
therefore raising your blood alcohol content.
Absorb. So
gonna
absorb
do
away.
a
And
little
then
of
I
that.
thought maybe it'd be a good time, and you can play whatever you want, but I thought it might be a good time for you to play your classical
I was
song.
thinking that too.
Oh.
On account of you were sitting here and you were like, Matt Maher is just a much better pianist than me.
And then you want to come and blow everyone's mind.
And I'm thinking you're going to play that classical song and be like, how can you be better? What is the next better? What's the next level to
Now, to be fair, I actually haven't heard it yet because it was only played through the headphones. So I actually don't know what it sounds like.
You know, I don't know that I've ever heard
But I did
Matt Maher
hear
play classical.
The
But
clicks of like the keyboard keys.
Oh,
That's all
okay.
I've heard, and it was a lot of keyboard keys.
be? There were many
It
clicks.
was a lot of this.
so automatically you assume.
I was like,
oh, he's a
damn, he playing
genius.
quick.
And you'll see it's just we'll see.
So what's classical about it? Is it an actual classical song, or is it classical styled?
Yes, no, this is a classical piece. It's technically from the 20th century era. For those of you not familiar with classical music, there are 4 eras. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
There's Baroque, right? Think Bach.
Right, I
Very,
love Bach.
Ornamental, very frou-frou, like lots of things. Then there's classical, which is very exactly the opposite. Very, clean, methodical, predictable. Mozart. Then you have the Romantic period, which is where everyone got tired of doing things by the rules and they broke them all. So then you have later
Oh my God, sorry.
Beethoven, Chopin.
I like Chopin.
I know you're right in the
Wagner.
middle. We're coming back to Wagner.
Okay.
Roger's
You found
sitar
Roger's-
pick.
I believe it
was
was
on the
me.
ground.
There's a name for it, and I forget what it's called.
I know.
Hey,
that-
can
know
I
the
just
name.
tell a joke really quick?
Also, I believe
Yeah,
you mean
because-
Wagner.
I don't know. Roger may have told this on his podcast.
I don't think he did.
But this popped into my head recently, and I literally started laughing out loud out of nowhere.
LOLing.
LOLing, exactly. Like, when you type LOL, but you're not actually laughing, you just
You're
want to
just,
make
like,
people
breathing through
feel
your
better
nose
that
a
they're
little
trying to be
bit.
funny. Like, this was an actual LOL moment.
Okay.
So Roger told, we were just like, what kind of jokes could you tell about the sitar? Because he plays sitar, right? We talked about the stand-up tar
He's played
thing,
sitar
'cause that's-
live for us on the show.
yeah, that's awesome. So apparently, and Roger, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I butcher this, but the way you told it is so funny. I'm trying to do my best. So Roger went downtown to like busk, like play on the street or whatever. And evidently, the spot that he sat down and started playing actually belonged to like this homeless guy who that's like his regular spot. And so he's there playing for I don't know how long, just playing sitar. And the homeless guy comes up and he's like thinking like, what's this guy doing in my spot? And he says, sitar, more like shitar.
LOL.
No, now all I want to see is Roger getting a fight with a homeless guy. That's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
my dream now.
I could see that happening.
I can see Roger getting a fight with anybody.
Find a
Let's be
fighter
real.
in Roger. Oh man.
But anyways,
So-
you're talking about Wagner.
Yes, and then okay.
Which you
so
said Wagner, and that kind of bugs me.
I said Wagner.
No, you didn't.
I said hey, rewind the tape.
Maybe it was, I know Ryan said Wagner.
No, I did
Wagner?
not.
Yes, you did. 'Cause
I
That's
did
what
not.
I was.
So I think he said Wagner.
Okay, the point was
Like David Wagner.
20th century is what comes after the Romantic period, and
Yes.
it started around the turn of the 20th century.
What was the Romantic period about again, though?
I don't know, romance.
Romance?
It was about people. It was about like your. It's going from objective to subjective. Like it's not like
Okay.
describing this perfect picture of what music should be like. It's like
I see.
what I feel. That's
Yeah.
Chopin
Sounds
is
nice.
my favorite romantic composer.
Sure, of that era, for sure.
Everyone
Chopin.
probably can recognize a Chopin piece, whether or not you know classical music. So this piece I'm going to play is actually a 20th century piece, which comes after the Romantic period, which is even more rule bending. And then you get into like atonal music, which is pretty weird and starts veering off the beaten path. You get John Cage, who writes 433, which if you're not familiar is
433.
the piece is called 433.
Oh,
and it's-
that's not the time signature.
no.
4 minutes and
It's 4 minutes and 33 seconds of
Okay.
silence.
That's not writing a song.
Now, what is that called? I
That's
studied
literally
that
the
in-
opposite of writing a song.
I studied that in art school, and there's other examples of this art was like showing a toilet and calling it art. Is it Dadaism?
I took a class in college.
I feel
when
like
was a
that's
music
wrong, but
major.
that
There
is
was a
okay.
composer in the 20th century who literally took a blank sheet music, took like an AK-47 and blasted bullet holes and just played wherever the bullet holes fell. That's music in the 21st century.
That's pretty cool.
In music school, I studied 20th century music, and there was actually a subheading called danger music. And literally, the piece of music
That's where Dead
just
Mouse
has
came
one
from.
instruction, and it says like throw one anti-personnel bomb into the audience.
But don't though. Don't do that though. For the record, we do not support that
Danger
on the
music.
show.
That's danger music.
Okay, let me ask you some questions. First off, when was Gershwin in all this?
Okay, so Gershwin is kind of a departure, I think, from classical music, because I don't know. Gosh, all my friends from music school who know this better are gonna probably murder me.
They all
watch the show, so it's fine.
Obviously. But it's like I think he started in the classical world, and obviously stuff like he written like Rhapsody in Blue, I've Got Rhythm, definitely went more like the popular route, like Tin Pan Alley, 30s and 40s, like the birthplace of pop music. Like he kind of, I would almost say is like a forefather
Spearheaded it?
to like pop music.
Interesting. When you
Okay,
said
and one
Gershwin,
more.
I like knew the name, but I couldn't think of anything. But then I recognized every
Got
song, everything
Rhythm.
you've listed.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, I know all those things.
Igor
Exactly.
Stravinsky, where was he?
Stravinsky was 20th
20s,
century.
right?
Yeah.
Was he the 1920s?
That sounds about right. You know, Rite of Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does he factor into? So he's not part of Romantic.
No,
He's
no,
part
he's
of
20th century.
20th century.
Yep.
So what we're hearing now is that era.
So the composer's name is Aram Khachaturian. Aram, like Aaron, except with an M.
Sure.
I see why you chose it.
Yeah, exactly. This is a piece that I played, and actually, okay, like my 2 seconds of bragging on myself, I placed third in state at this,
wow.
you know, with playing this piece, and I
You
cried.
a fancy bitch.
I cried. I was
That's fair.
emotional. All right, so here we go.
Nice. What would you have done if you got second or first?
That
was-
Disneyland. I don't know.
Good. Sorry, that pause sounded like you were thinking about my question. I was like, that was meant to be like a quick ha-ha jest. And you're like, oh man, I don't know. Like double cried.
Hey, I mean, I take this thing seriously, okay? So I normally play this on pianos that aren't electronic, so we'll see how this goes.
Wow. And Matt Maher is even better than that.
You better believe it.
The way you've just ranked him very high as a penis. That was incredible. Matt Maher is a giant, incredible, very large penis. Wow.
You heard it here first from Aaron Smith.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to live that one down now. Great. Matt Maher, if you're watching, we'll talk later.
We had a. Can I just say you're a very bad penis, but a very good pianist? That's
I don't know. He might be good at both.
Somebody really said that.
Yeah, somebody typed that.
Okay.
I guess that's all good.
We thought that was going to end about 5 times before it did.
Yeah, like you'd stop and we'd be like, oh, we pulled it because we're sharing a set of headphones. And so we pull it away.
I was
we're
wondering
like, oh,
what you were doing.
to go.
I saw you moving out of my peripheral vision, and my first thought was, they're doing interpretive dance.
Now, Ryan has some experience in interpretive dance.
That's
Really?
true. The whole thing.
I would
Let's
like
not
to see
get off on
this.
that tangent
Not
because
get
we
off
got to
that
finish. We got to finish on
Yeah,
the song.
plus one day we are going to
Have an
show
interpretive
that
dance episode?
video.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
not,
me
maybe
and
not
Co.
the video. It's fucking
Why isn't
weird.
that day today?
I don't even think we have access. That was
It's true.
10 years
So
ago.
wow.
15 years ago?
So back to this topic though. Wow, piano, and there was one part I knew, which was the there at the very end. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, that
It's
section.
okay
I'm
if
like,
you don't
oh,
know.
I've
You
heard
just
this
say,
before.
Yeah, it's fine.
Really?
The rest of it never. I feel like doesn't sound all
But
familiar.
that one
But
part
that
you
one
heard
part,
in that
I'm like,
Nordstrom's one day.
was that what it was? Like, do you know?
With that guy when you're going up the escalator and there's the guy with like the tails on his suit playing the piano. I bet that's where you heard it.
I guess it's just catchy enough because it repeated more than one time. But yeah, that was really fast and a lot of music things happened there. And
Lots of notes.
I had a
Lots
whole
of them.
internal dialogue. I'm just like, is this the hill I have to climb? Do I need to be that good? Do I want to be that good? I'm like, maybe I just don't want to be a classical player at all. Maybe just don't go there. I'm not
She
gonna. This is not
continue
gonna
playing
happen.
pop music.
Maybe I'm just gonna be a pop guy. And then I'm just like, well,
Also,
I got to
pop-
keep hiring Aaron for piano. Like, I'm not gonna, like,
For all your
We're not going
classical
there.
piano needs. See, realize that took so many hours of practice to get there. And normally in pop music, you don't spend that much time on any one song because the parts just aren't that involved. So it's just a totally different game.
totally different beast, you could
Totally,
say.
totally different dragon.
So
Chase that dragon.
Or don't. Never mind. Let's just leave it
You
there.
heard it here first. Aaron says, always chase the dragon.
this is the Full Syringe podcast.
Okay.
Not the worst thing we've said by far. I just...
So good music, man.
Do you need me to interview myself some more? Is that the
Yeah,
deal?
if you could, that would really help.
We've never had someone play anything classical on our show.
No, that was the first time.
We
We've
had
had
jazz,
jazz
2 episodes ago for the first time.
Yeah, and what's
They were
funny
a
is
jazz band that specifically played video game music covers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to our modern non-educated minds, when you
To be
hear
fair, I was a classical guitar major.
Okay.
didn't finish.
I didn't finish.
I asked you to play the guitar without the
Hey,
night with me.
I
and you
respect
said no.
classical guitar majors for the main reason that you have to grow your fingernails out on your right hand.
Yeah, you know, I still
That
have a
takes
habit. Like, I still have...
There you go.
Because I used to bite my nails, and then when I started doing it, I couldn't, and so I've never been the person to clip my nails. I used to bite them. And now I just have long fingernails all the time. Because I did that.
For that one moment, you have to bust out the classical.
In case it
You're
happens.
always ready.
I've just gotten in the habit, and my wife's
right.
like, why are your fingernails always so fucking long? I'm like, I don't know, man. I just got trained myself.
So I think to our lesser educated minds, like when you think
Obadiah
of
Kruger.
when you think of when you think of classical music and you think of jazz music, they sort of go in my head in like one realm of like refined person with jazz and classical. But I think what's funny is like I know that to not be true. Like I know that originally jazz is like a complete rebellion of classical music, and like to the extent that the Germans in World War II like banned jazz music because it was appalling to the German senses of
Man, I
harmony.
don't know if you're making that up or not, but
Truth.
that's what we all believe now. I've never heard that before.
It's on this. I heard it on This American Life. You must
Which
just not be
episode?
far back enough.
I've listened to.
Is that the same thing? Like, I've heard this too, that like apparently the Nazis created 440 tuning because.
Oh my
it was
God.
No.
No.
That's
a
a
whole
conspiracy theory.
I know
And
it's
that
a, I know it's a
true-
This one is a
conspiracy.
real
tuning
letter.
of nature is what is it? 426 or something.
Yeah,
And that's
don't know.
like the
No.
real
It's
in
like
tune with the
442,
world.
I think, is nature.
It's like real close.
according to this
Right.
thing.
According to my
Well, yeah,
wife.
it's-
Nature is 442, but the Nazis do 440 to make people very angry.
I don't
No,
know
it's to
that.
control
what accent
people and
that is.
shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know that that's true, but what
No,
I
it's
do know
not.
is that
You know it's not because the
even
type of people
parts-
who believe it.
parts of
My
even
wife.
Baroque music, like we're talking like, you know, like early Bach era,
Yeah,
there was no standardized scale. So what we all take for granted,
yeah.
this music theory lesson here,
Wow.
our 12-tone scale is a modern invention.
Right.
It was created in the 1600s because trumpet players wanted to not have to carry around 12
We're not allowed
trumpets.
to talk about Trump on this podcast. Why did you have to go there? Why did we use 440?
Trumpets.
Because of the Trump. God damn it, Trump! Ruining everything, including music.
I obviously just stepped on a minefield.
Because
What
Trump. You can't say the word Trump anymore without it being heated and polarizing. You can't say trumpet. They need to rename the instrument. Loud singies. Loud blowy blows.
Loud blowy blows. Classic.
Okay, so the loud blowy blow players. Go
Loud
on.
blowy blow players don't want to have to carry. I don't even be able to talk about this anymore. The point is,
Because of Trump, we all just tune our pianos different.
yeah,
Make music great again. Magma. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's magma. It's more catchy than maga. Make America great, man. Again, magma.
Mga. Classic mga. We should get hats made.
Okay, mga. What were you saying? Classical music?
Remember I tried to debrief you about what we do before the show?
point
and I
is-
did not give you any indication that it would be like this.
Well, the truth is that we were just so on topic earlier that we have to get off. And
Yeah.
also, the
It's like
Germans
yin-yang.
did, according to
And we
This
haven't gotten
American
the
Life,
question.
the source of all truth.
I do love. You listen to This American Life?
Great,
What? You should.
great. Anyway,
It's the
the
second
point
best
is
podcast
that,
outside of us.
They read a letter by the
course.
Germans that where they banned jazz music for a bunch of reasons. One reason being racist, that a lot of African Americans were involved in early jazz. Another reason being it offends the sense of classical German harmony. And but so all I was saying, and it's kind of like a whatever point, but my point was just like in my head, I think as a more pop-centric human, like jazz, classical, these live in similar spaces of like refined music. But the truth is that historically it's more like classical is refined music. And even at a certain point, just what music is only. And then it becomes like from a European viewpoint, right? And then jazz is like this, like, fuck everything you guys believe. And you think of like the jazz age, like the Roaring 20s and all that stuff. You think of like the jazz age in your head as a modern person is this more like people are like doing jazz. For the podcast listeners, I'm currently moving my jazz fingers, my jazz hands, right?
Are you still
It's like,
wearing, like, a
ooh,
pick?
I sure am. And it's just very
in
like,
case a sitar appears out of thin air, you'll be ready to play it.
right? It's just more like a refined thing, and rock and roll is looked down upon in popular music, right? But in actual like historic reality, jazz is like was a rebellious music and was completely contradictory
It was
and
the first
raucous.
punk, is what we're saying.
Jazz is punk.
You bring up an interesting point
Junk.
in that, like, a lot of what
Did you
defines
say
different.
jazz is junk?
Should I say jazz and punk? I've tried to combine them.
I
it
see where
became
you're trying to
chunk.
go. Yeah,
Go on.
I would just be
following what you
careful.
stepped in there.
Yeah.
So, like, you bring up an interesting point in that, like, sometimes I think a lot of what defines different musical genres or movements is not even just the music itself, but kind of the culture that it comes out of. So, like, what's interesting about classical music is a lot of it actually, like, before classical music was, like, performed in, like, a concert hall where you, like, go listen to it, it was more of, like, background music, like how we would have, like, bar bands. Like,
Really?
Yeah, like classical music is like in the background for social events. So there was some of that coming from it too. Over time,
I've seen movies. That
that one about Mozart or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one specific
Perfect.
movie.
No, I don't know what movie we're talking about, but it was like that was the perfect description of every movie I've ever seen with that scene. The one about Mozart or whatever. Yep. They're
There's-
playing that song, and people with wigs were dancing around in circles.
Too bad it's public domain. Someone could be making mad royalties from that song right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so like jazz obviously like comes from a variety of different sources, but yeah, it's definitely evolved into something that's not mainstream, at least in the US. I think in other parts of the world it's a lot more popular. But it is what it is. Definitely different than classical though. I mean, like you're talking about, very structured notes on a page versus here's like a 12-bar progression and you're going to improv over it. So might be the biggest difference.
Musical tangent. Can you play Coltrane?
Not going to try.
Oh.
That means not.
I did
No,
not,
dog.
I did not brush up on my jazz.
Are you?
chops
Do you
before
do
this.
jazz?
I started learning. I started studying jazz at Belmont as a piano principal, and then I decided I wanted to do drums, so I switched and left jazz piano kind of behind, but I can still kind of fake my way through it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're not going to hear any giant steps today. Sorry.
I see. That's exactly what I wanted.
But I can play a Mary Had a Little
That's what I was
Lamb.
gonna say.
Yeah.
We do have an important question. to
I
ask.
know your important question face.
when I'm ready, when it's time.
Yeah, I could just sense it.
I mean, I pretty much built this entire podcast from the ground up alone,
Seems untrue.
specifically to ask this
Cool.
question.
Next week you'll set it up alone. Enjoy.
It'll be on my phone.
Hey guys, it's me.
Here's a homeless busker. Tell us about that one time you almost fought Roger.
It was you the whole time.
That was wonderful. I loved every moment of that. It was accurate. It's exactly what it would be. And it was funny and referential. Very well done.
Thanks.
And that is what next week will be, because fuck you.
No,
Actually,
slow
next
clap.
week will be famous Christian music
I've never
mixer
gotten a
Sean
slow clap
Moffat.
before.
Should we start announcing our future guests?
We usually don't have them planned ahead of time, so it's hard.
We do right now.
Who's our next week's guest?
Next week's guest is Sean Moffat.
Oh.
He is
Oh, really?
The
I didn't
man,
know-
the
I
myth,
didn't
the
know
legend.
I didn't know he scheduled time.
He did earlier today.
Oh, wow.
Actually, Sean is a Grammy Award-winning mixing engineer for music.
Yeah, he did a lot of shit you've heard. And I know
Like
that
what?
because I googled
Did he do
him.
Matt Maher? I feel like he did.
I know
Yes,
that
he
simply
has
because
mixed Matt Maher stuff.
I googled.
He also mixed Roger's last record, right?
Yeah, he mixed Roger's last record. He mixed Matt Maher. He mixed Danny Goki. All of his records,
I
actually,
remember,
including the new one.
I googled him when you first told me he might come on the show, and it's like the list of shit he did,
Is pretty ridiculous.
and I was like, oh my god, he's
That's the Sean Moffat
no, this is the wrong
No.
It's not a
person.
sales
It's
success.
I think
with
I
the
spelled
I.
it wrong.
It's with the I. He also mixed Colony House, which is rad. Andrew Bell, who's one of my favorites.
I love Andrew Bell.
Dude, we're on the same page.
What the fuck was this? The thing I was looking at? That-
And
there was like a list of shit that he had done. That's not it.
yeah, that's Sean.
Yeah, but
that's
this
Sean.
is not the website I was. This is not the
No,
list I looked
It's
at.
not. That's him.
Maybe it's this one.
There you go,
Oh, yeah,
Allmusic.
it must be this one. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, he did all sorts of. Oh yeah, this is it. He
Okay.
did the recent Josh Groban.
Michael
I'm trying to scroll down, but your computer's shitty.
Jim Fleas, Lincoln Brewster, Rend Collective. Gateway.
There was
they're a
another,
worship band
Chris
in Texas.
Tomlin,
Mosaic, MSC,
Mercy
they're
Me,
big
Phil Wickham,
LA.
Ben Rector. That's a big
Oh,
one.
Lauren
Rector's
Daigle,
new
Look
album.
Up Child. That's one of my
Lauren
favorite
Daigle.
records.
Did he
favorite
win a
Christian
Grammy
record
for
of
that?
the
Toby Mac.
Francesca Battistelli, Corey Asbury.
Dude, I was so
Rhett
into
Walker,
Toby Mac when I was
Toby Mac.
younger. Like a ridiculous. DC Talk is what I called my favorite band for like 15 years. Anyways, he's on the show next time. That's not what
Dude,
this
all
episode's
the people
about.
we just said are 2018. That's just recent.
Yeah, that's just
Go back,
yeah.
It's kind of nuts. He's
Anyways,
like
that's awesome.
anyway. So he's next week, and then April 10th
April 10th.
we have.
Oh yeah, it's a big
Justin. Unfortunately, I don't remember his last name in this moment of
Wow.
time. Dude, we are the Whole Bottle podcast, and we've just finished a whole
one. Yeah,
bottle.
he's
Justin-
in the band Three Doors Down.
Bass player of Three Doors Down.
Who are they? I'm just kidding. I had you alarmed for a second.
If I go crazy, will you still call me Superman? Those guys. Sounds
going
just
great.
like that.
That was on the money. Right?
Wow,
But
we've
this
never
week-
like announced an episode ahead of time. That's
We
crazy.
haven't because we usually don't have them.
Yeah, we usually we're like on Thursday. We're like, who's on the show tomorrow?
I'm working heavy on planning
So
out.
that's why I got that text yesterday.
Working heavy on getting the podcast more scheduled out.
But anyways, the question.
Tonight we have Aaron Smith, amazing keyboardist, producer to the nations, worldwide penis, and just a great all-around dude. Previously socially anxious, currently not. Also a bartender, and does
Not
some
sure
therapy
how much
on
of what
the
you're
side.
saying is true.
It's close.
Sure, I'll take it.
So here's the deal.
Lover of Hattie Bs. Go on.
One of
That is
the
true.
things that made me want to start a podcast was I've often thought in interviews, in regular job interviews, they ask the same fucking boring questions of all time. And if you watch shows like Jimmy Fallon, and I love Jimmy Fallon. I love watching that shit.
You're gonna have to
I
stretch
love,
this sauce out longer than normal. Okay.
Okay. I love watching
That's your key.
like late night shows and all those kind of things. I've always been a big fan of that. But I've always thought they're all the same. Now some are better than others, right? Now, honestly, I am a huge fan of Jimmy Fallon. I think he's hilarious, even though he's a little over the top. Before
Sure.
that, I was a huge fan of Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
And I thought when I have a show, if I ever have a show, or if I ever get a chance to interview somebody, I don't want to be that. That's been done. And it's been done so well, I don't want to try to compete with that.
Sure.
I want to be different. Did you just grab space dust? I want to... Maybe.
Man after my own heart.
I want to be different than that. And so I thought, if I were interviewing someone, what question would I ask? If I was in a job interview and I had to interview someone and I want to know if they were right to work with me, what question would I ask? And this is the question.
That was extremely long.
I was really delaying for you to get
That
back
just
from those
needed
dreams
like
for
a
bit.
drum roll.
Yeah,
or
you
something.
sure did. Aaron,
Oh.
are you partaking?
Of space dust? Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just the opener.
I'm just.
It's on Ryan's entire keys. You're really ruining my build-up here.
Now I
No.
feel like
That
what
was the build-up to the
Kroger-
build-up.
What the,
Right.
what the Kroger cashier feels like every time someone hands over their keychain to scan their Kroger card.
I just type in the phone number.
But I got a
so-
really nice Paris, France bottle opener. My buddy Wesley got
Oh.
it for me.
Bears?
Bears.
Oh, you already opened mine.
I did.
What a good brother-in-law.
But it's nice. It's very solid. Like if you've ever had a keychain bottle opener,
The
they
last
often
one you had
break.
sucked. I think it's
This one
stretched
is
out.
very, very hard. Does
yeah.
not break. It says Paris on it. Has the Eiffel Tower. That's exciting.
Dude, you
and
can take down
also
a freaking Hydra with that thing.
it spins, which I think is great. What'd you say? A Hydra? Hydro?
Hydra, you know,
Hydra? The from
The many-headed.
like the three-headed monster or whatever. However many heads?
Cut
it
off
has.
one head,
I
two
was
more
thinking
grow
from
back.
the Marvel universe.
They also reference that same thing. That's why their symbol is that. You cut off one head of their organization, two go back twice as strong.
Unless you burn it with a
see.
torch. and
Sure,
then they
but-
cauterize it, and then you can't.
Right, that's killing the whole beast.
Yeah.
Anyway,
This episode is now named the Cauterization Podcast. You got to cauterize a Hydra. That's the name of this
so
episode.
this question is literally the point of the. We do all this just so I can ask this question.
Now I'm
just to
feeling
butter
pretty
you.
anxious about it.
Butter you up.
Yeah.
You should.
You got that social anxiety thing I heard about earlier.
No, this is just
this
this is
a-
just pure anxiety. This is just like pure terror about
Normal
what you're about to
anxiety.
say.
Wow.
Because okay, here's the thing. If you had to pick,
And you do.
and you do.
Between which one of you guys I like more?
No,
I'm
that's
not answering
obvious
that
choice.
question.
I'm clear the better. But here's the thing: everybody for this question has an answer.
Okay.
They do deep. Not all of them know the answer consciously,
Deep in your soul.
Boxers or briefs?
but deep. And, I've always been a boxer guy, but I recently bought
What?
boxer briefs.
No.
And my wife bought for me and didn't realize I was only a boxer guy. And they're great.
Okay.
You're enjoying them?
Boxer briefs are great.
I recently made the switch back to boxers.
I've always been a boxer
I
guy.
guess there can only be one in a house at a time. Anyway.
If you had to pick,
And you do.
and you do. Now, the important thing about this question is like it cannot be a head answer.
this is too much.
It cannot be a brain answer. It has
This
to
is
come
a hard answer.
from your
Okay.
heart, from
Let
your
it come
soul.
from your
And-
your influencer.
And what
Yeah,
that
play my
means
heartstrings.
is you
no
cannot
contemplator.
think.
The heart accordion.
Influencer.
No delay. I ask the question, you give an answer. There's no
Not
thinking
Jay.
about it.
This is very
And-
vulnerable. I mean, like looking at the internet right here in front of me. The
Oh,
entire
Al
Al
Gore's
Gore's internet.
Not your J, use your N. You know what I mean? Myers-Briggs.
Yeah. Pulling my N.
I don't know
That's
the-
not even the same category.
I don't know the
nice
Enneagram.
job.
I don't know the Enneagram very well, but I'm gonna say don't use your 7, use your 4. Just a guess. Okay.
No, that's not how that works.
Don't use your 1, use your 8.
Just ask the question.
Don't.
If you had to pick.
And you do.
And you
Yes, I've
do.
heard that like 5 times already. What are people saying?
What would you say? Unrelated.
Are the best. With ex officio.
What the fuck?
Buck naked. Aaron Smith, ghostwriter for Kanye.
That's right, Liz.
Liz says
day.
it's the question.
Liz knows it's the question.
What
Taji
would-
knows it's the question.
what
They've been to
would
this
you
show
say
before.
Is
Hold on.
your
What? If you had to pick.
and you do.
And you do.
Hang on, I need some chicken. This is stressing me
Aaron's
out.
breathing into a bag. For podcast listeners, he is breathing into a bag. Here's a bag. This would be better visual.
Big ass bag.
Hattie's touching.
So spicy.
I think it's appropriately sized.
Can I get a fry really quick though?
There you go.
We have let you eat none of them.
Oh wow, you really didn't get your Hattie Bs.
We finished our sandwiches long ago. If you had to pick,
And you do.
and you
I'm gonna do a little exposure
do.
therapy right now. Eat in front of the internet.
Now I gotta wait for you to be done chewing though. It's gotta be from the heart.
What?
You're trying
Here,
to make
word by word.
delays.
We'll go word by word just to help. Okay.
Okay.
What?
No, it has to be all at once. It can't be word for word.
No, until the crux. Just what?
What would
you
say
is
your
you ready?
favorite kind of turtle? From the heart!
A green one?
We've had some bad answers before.
We've had some truly bad answers.
Taji answered before you. Oh, yeah, he's heard the question before, to be fair. He's heard the question before.
Wow.
Wow. We got Mexican sliding turtle Galapagos, bitch.
And Ninja.
Ninja.
I did not realize I was on a
We'll
podcast with turtle connoisseurs.
We'll accept
I'm
all
so sorry.
3 over green.
Green one?
It's like you didn't even try.
And we've gotten box turtle like 8 times. That would have been better. I mean, I'll take it because it's from the heart, kind of. You thought about it in a while. Let's be real. But
I'm just over here. I'm like, okay, you can't play piano as good as Matt Maher. You say green. What's your favorite turtle?
Man, that's really rough.
It's really rough.
I don't know what that has to do with playing piano. I never studied turtles.
It's
in
about
piano
thinking
lessons.
on your feet.
Okay. We don't do that in classical music. We play what's on the page.
I guess that's true. That is very true.
It's true. All right.
That was
Well-
hard. That was a really rough one.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was for all
To be
of us.
fair,
so
it's
do I-
not the worst answer we've gotten. We've gotten way worse.
What was the
answers.
worst?
The worst was I have no answer for that.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, right? What a
no
motherfucker. I don't
offense.
even remember who that was. I just remember it happening and how it hurt me deep inside.
I mean, the green is pretty lame too.
The fact is,
We don't do the redemption question, Liz, because it's
what's the
it's just too
redemption
weird.
question?
Well, we've had a couple kind of like backup questions in the past, like early episodes, but we've kind of dropped
Like
that.
what?
Well,
I don't remember this.
But they were like
I
very,
there?
they're very like meme specific and not really like the desire of my heart in interview questioning.
Whoa, you're halfway there. Whoa.
Pigeon on a chair.
Exactly right answer.
I'm tracking with you.
Very good. Very good.
You know, we were
Okay.
talking about like two birth and all that.
Y'all just keep
Two
vaping.
birth?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
eat my
two
chicken.
birth.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it's just an old meme now. Turtles are forever.
I see that. Yeah.
You know,
Aaron, if you had to pick,
And you do.
And you do.
Okay, I'm ready for this now.
Yeah, what shape would you say the Earth is?
We literally just said the answer.
Earth shape. Duh.
Clearly, we all live on a tube-shaped Earth. It is the
It's a
tube.
tube
We
Earth.
are masters of the tube Earth theory.
Flat around? Nah,
Bullshit.
Tube.
Tube. Cylindrical at best.
Okay. Well, it's been a great episode. No,
And we've officially run out of things to talk about.
No, we can go for hours. Trust me. We had a 5-hour episode once. We're only at
It's true.
2.
Yeah, the
right.
problem is Aaron's not carrying his load and talking about SpongeBob. So it has to
Yeah,
happen.
it's true. We did have a guy on the 5-hour episode. Our guest did talk about SpongeBob theory for about 45 minutes.
I didn't know there was a theory.
Oh, there is.
Taro Mira says longer.
Long Earth.
I see that.
Pizza, the Earth has a crust. Pizzas have crust. It also explains why we can't fall off the Earth. The crust is stopping us.
Logical. Perfectly
Pizza Earth
logical.
theory.
I like it. The pizza Earth.
Makes sense to me.
I'm into it.
But it is about that time. As we are trying our hardest to keep the show within a reasonable time limit and bounds, it is very difficult for us, being the people we are.
So
Now, normally,
Aaron didn't send us any music to go out with,
Yeah,
but
I was going to say normally
I have an idea.
we go out with.
because I'm just looking at the songs that he could play on the show, and this one I don't think you planned, but it's a maybe. Could you end us with that
Oh.
song? It's a great ender.
That's not a song, but.
I know what you're talking about.
So normally what we do is we play a song off Spotify while we wrap it up, but this is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It's something we're trying new just for you.
Yeah. I know exactly where you're headed.
You want to do?
So Aaron,
you-
wait. But before we do that, as you're moving, you can show us again.
What's happening?
So, where can people find you
Yeah.
on
Wait, you got to
Instagram?
unmute the piano mic.
And
Important places. Hello.
yeah,
Unmute me. Am I unmuted?
you sure are.
Awesome. I am on Instagram at Aaron Daniel Smith. Daniel is my middle name. It is my father's name. He gave it to me as my middle name.
And Liz, can you look this up and post a link in the chat for us?
At Aaron Daniel Smith. That is my Instagram. Follow me. Say hi. I'm also on Facebook, Aaron Smith, but I never really know how to communicate that one. So just figure it out.
And just a shout out, if you and I don't feel like any of our guests do this, but if you listen to this, if you're the kind of person who says, "Hey, I'm,"
Your guests listen to this.
no, I just don't think any of our guests are like fit this category I'm about to describe. If you're the kind of person and you're thinking, "Hey, I have a song, and I would like for on that song for there to be piano, organ, Wurlitzer, Rhodes, any kind of keyboard, a synth, special effects, little sounds, little twinklies, bright twinklies, dark twinklies, an arpeggiator, sub bass, something they can have with the keyboard. If you have a song and you want that to exist, I'll tell you my go-to thing that I do when I want those things on a song I'm working on is I say, I text Aaron Smith and I say, Aaron, I got this song I'm working on. Can you make some keyboards? And Aaron, you're going to have to work out your own deals with him, but for an undisclosed amount of money, Aaron will make like
more than $4.
more than $4,
Maybe.
and less than 10 million. Aaron will make like 8 keyboard tracks for me of all the coolest synths and cool stuff I could ever hope for me to work with in the songs I work with, and he makes me look like a genius. In fact, I recently on what album was it that I did? I think it was on the Start Over album, but I could be wrong. I put in the credits like, it's criminal that I don't list you as a co-producer on this album because that's how much Aaron impacts my work. I know, but I didn't because I wanted all that credit to myself. That was the criminal part. Yeah, so Aaron is a genius.
That's so ass-kissingly sweet of you. Thanks.
I know. And kind of fucked up too. The point is that Aaron is really good at music things, and if you want music things on your song, hit up Aaron at Aaron Daniel Smith on the Instagram because that's the only thing we use anymore anyway. And he'll do music things for you, and he's the best. So that's all I'm saying. just tremendous.
I can make all your pianist dreams come true.
And so with that, we're gonna sign off. We're gonna say thank you for visiting Music Row Hideout. It was great having you here in Waylon Jennings' probably basement, and it is truly his basement. It's just anyway. So thank you, Aaron Daniel Smith, the bomb. .com. Aaron, can you start playing so we have a reason to stop talking?
It's been an honor, guys. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. It took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile that can share the night, it goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everyone wants a thrill. Oh, sorry, I lost the words. Anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some will learn to sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Streetlight people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Streetlights That was way too high for me.
I didn't expect you to sing it. That's such a high song. I just thought you'd play it.
I should have dropped it down about 2 octaves.
Well, this has been Music Row Hideout.
Guys, yeah, thanks for coming to hang out with us. Make sure to check out Aaron Daniel Smith on Instagram. And, see some other things.
Daniel as in damn Daniel.
Thanks for coming to hang out. Next week we will have Sean Moffat.
Sean Moffat,
Next week, right?
mixer.
So make sure to tune in. We will say we're going to start at 6:30, but in reality we're going to start at 7. So make sure to be there at that time. And thanks for coming out, and we will see y'all
Next time.
only